I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice of the cancellation and rescheduling?
Members of the Town Board, cancel and reschedule Town Board meeting Tuesday, February 13th, 2024 at 1 p.m. Please be advised that the regular Town Board meeting scheduled for Tuesday, February 13th, 2024 at 1 p.m. is canceled. And please be further advised that pursuant to Section 62 of Town Law, a special Town Board meeting will be held in the Town Board Meeting Room, Southampton Town Hall, 116 Hampton Road, Southampton, New York, on Thursday, February 15th, 2024 at 1 p.m. for the purpose of considering any public hearings and resolutions that would have been on the agenda for the canceled February 13th, 2024 Town Board meeting. Maria Z. Moore, Supervisor, dated February 14th, 2024.
Thank you.
Supervisor Moore.
Present.
Councilwoman McNamara.
Present.
Councilman Iosili.
Present.
Councilman Pell.
Present.
Councilman Scavone.
Present.
The following minutes are available for the Town Board's approval for the regular Town Board meeting, January 23rd, and the Hampton Bays Water District Commissioners meeting of February 8th.
We need a motion for the approval of both minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The following communications have been received in the office of the Town Clerk. We have received public notices from the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation of floodplain management training for March 11th through the 14th in Yaphank. Town of Riverhead notice of adoption. Village of North Haven zoning board of appeals application. Village of Sagaponack notice of adoption. New York State liquor license 30-day advance notice to local municipalities. We received new applications from the listed entities and one renewal application. Emails, letters, and land use applications have been received regarding the following: Bel Air Cove Motel property, Hampton Bays; Bud Hampton Connor Cannabis Dispensary, Bridgehampton; building codes; Community Housing Fund Plan; Deer Stand at North Bishops Lane and Hillcrest Terrace, Southampton; Hampton Bays CAC appointees; Hampton Bays Downtown Planning; Notice of Intent to sell number 1703 Eagles Walk in East Quogue; Proposed Change of Zone application entitled Liberty Gardens, County Road 39, Southampton; Proposed Lithium Battery Energy Storage Systems, BESS moratorium; Riverside Community Sewage Treatment Plant; Southampton Town and Suffolk County facility improvements. A zoning board of appeals application was filed for LLC 651 Dune Road, West Hampton. The following bids and requests for proposals were received January 31st. Bid for printing of decals, posters, and tickets for the comptroller. February 7th, a bid for annual on-call granular activated carbon for the Hampton Bays Water District. The following report was filed from the town comptroller for the January 2024 monthly financial report. And that concludes the communications for this meeting's agenda.
Thank you. We do have several walk-on resolutions that read now and vote on whether we have a supermajority to add them to the agenda. Walk-on 45611 to appoint a hearing officer. 45615, resolution to adopt a local law moratorium on battery energy storage systems by amending section 314-4 entitled Moratorium Period to extend the moratorium period for an additional 6 months. 45619, to authorize the Community Development Corporation of Long Island to submit an application to New York State for a second round of funds for the +1 ADU program. Number 45620, and to award and authorize the supervisor to sign a contract for annual on-call granular activated carbon with Calgon Carbon Corporation. Number 45628, to authorize the supervisor to sign a contract with VHB Inc. to provide professional consulting services for the planning and land use code amendments for battery energy storage systems within the town of Southampton. Number 45642, warrant number 3, and number 45670, memorializing resolution to support Suffolk County District Attorney Raymond A. Tierney's public campaign and efforts to change New York State laws relating to fentanyl.
You want a motion?
Yes, a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Regarding the walk-ons, thank you.
You pass these to the supervisor?
All right, so we're ready to start with our public hearings. Public hearing number 1, Sunday.
Public hearing number 1, to consider the acquisition of 4 Red Creek Road in the hamlet of Hampton Bays and amend the CPF project plan and CPF management and stewardship plan to include the property.
Good afternoon, Madam Supervisor, Town Council members. Nice to see you this afternoon. Today we are before you with the property at 4 Red Creek Road in Hampton Bays, which is Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-175-1-32. So this is a property owned by Don L. Costanzo and Linda A. Costanzo. It's the property right here in yellow. And as you'll see from the aerial before you, we also have a large holding right to the southeast, which is actually surrounding the oldest home in Hampton Bays, the L. Squires house, which is right here. Those properties are listed in our stewardship plan as open space greenbelt Squires Pond target area. So this would be a parcel we're looking at for wetlands preservation in the area of Squires Pond, which is just to the north. So this would assemble a larger acreage in this area. There's also a freshwater stream leading to tidal wetlands to the north, which meets up with Peconic Bay. So the owners have expressed an interest in selling the property for $2 million. Do you have any
Thank you.
questions?
Can you just point out, because we had a couple calls on this property.
Sure.
Where the wetlands and the stream is on this, so people can see.
So the stream, actually, I'll show you, just so they can hear me on the recording equipment, but the stream I'll show you first, and then I'll show you the wetland area.
Thank you so much.
And out. And then this is actually already restricted wetlands area right here. And you can see here there is a pathway down to the water, which the property owners currently enjoy, and then the stream is here. So the house will be being removed by the prospective sellers.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there any other questions?
I don't believe anybody filled out a card from the audience. Kevin, is there anybody online that wishes to speak?
No, there's not.
Does anybody in the board have any questions for Jacqueline?
Nope.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, public hearing number 2.
Close it.
Oh, we need a motion to close the public hearing, please.
I'll make a motion to close it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing number 2, to consider extending Southampton Town Code, Chapter 314, entitled Moratorium on Battery Energy Storage Systems by amending Section 314-4 entitled Moratorium Period to extend for another 6-month period.
Make a motion to open it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
What
We
what just
never-
happened
We
here?
don't have to vote to open it.
Okay.
It's o-
sorry.
it's open.
I didn't know what was going on. Okay. You-
But for
you
the
vote at
record, I
end
am
to
in favor of
close.
it.
Just wanted to make sure.
I got
Here's a
nervous.
seat if you're awake. You need, do you want to say something,
Would you like
or
to
do you
tell
want?
us a little bit about what's happened, what's transpired? I know you appeared before the
Right.
planning commission on
Sure,
this.
sure. Good afternoon, Madam
Thank you.
Supervisor, members of the town board. Yes, we had obviously had the moratorium in place for 6 months where, you know, at the end of one administration and the beginning of another, we sought to meet internally with the public safety department, our chief fire marshal. We met with our chief building inspector. We also invited PSCG and LIPA to talk to us. We spoke to other municipalities like the town of Huntington. We talked to the Suffolk County Planning Commission when Andy Freeling was the chief planner there. And then when he was leaving, to try to understand what we should be doing. We also were working on getting a consultant, which we have now, as you remember at the last work session, spoken to, feel confident that that consultant can help us work out the code amendments that people are seeking, most notably that, there's obviously a lot of opposition to megawatt scale battery storage in residential zones. So that's the number one thing we'll be looking at. The County Planning Commission did approve it for an extra 6 months, asked us to come back within 3 months to report on our progress. And getting the consultant in place if you do go forward with that resolution today. And we think that we can do a planning study to understand what is available, what we said before, its relevancy now, after all, and then obviously we're always still waiting on all the recommendations from the state task force. So, yes.
Thank you, Janice. And could you just briefly explain for the public's edification, just what we're going to be doing with the potential contract agency to look at in terms of placement, zoning, and what do those opportunities mean in terms of the flexibility of our town when it comes to battery storage?
You mean like looking
The
at
consultant that was here last time, like what is he
Consultant.
going to be doing?
Right, so he's gonna look at the code that that the town board at the time initially adopted. And there was objection to, wait a minute, we shouldn't have it in any residential zone whatsoever. So that'll be the first thing they look at. The other thing we'll look at is, well, where are these substations? What are the zoning around these substations? How do we accommodate this if you move forward? And to what scale? And then working with, again, still LIPA, PSEG, and NYSERDA, and the results of this task force. Like, we went with that NYSERDA model code initially, which said 600 kilowatt hours or above. And we never expected someone to come in with 100 megawatt, facility. So what does that mean? Are there thresholds that we need to put in place with additional standards for review and putting them elsewhere, or where do they belong if that's at that utility scale level? So we didn't have that upper limit, which we understand now we need, in addition to all the fire safety protocols and things along those lines. So that consultant will look at all those things and work with, groups, community stakeholder groups will establish through how you want to do that, how you want to engage, and then come up with a series of recommendations, and then which again you will vet and decide how you want to amend the code.
Thank you for the elaboration.
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you for advocating for us with the Planning Commission and getting them to agree to the 6-month extension. That was so important. And for finding the consultant that you brought to the work session.
Sure
last
thing.
week.
And also the planning board adopted a resolution also recommending that you extend.
Yeah.
So those
there
things
was
are all
full
in
support
place.
for that.
Yes, thank
Yeah,
you.
and the goals are to limit the size, safety issues, where we'll cite them.
Fire safety concerns, considerations, things coming out of that task force, and anything else you feel appropriate, but we've kind of delineated that in that contract with VHB. So if
And then
anything
there
else should
was-
come up, we can always amend that.
You mentioned there were the 15 recommendations issued by the state, and we're going to be responding to those as well.
Right.
With some
And
assistance
they'll
from
help.
the consultant.
Janice, do you know how our moratorium lines up with other towns that have moratoriums? Their timing, you may not know this, like where's Southold, how much time do they have and how are they doing?
I'm pretty
They
sure
started
they
with a year. They started with a
the
year.
They
So we
started
with
with the
6
year, so
months,
they're,
and we're
okay.
going like sort of in 6-month increments, let's put it
Mhm.
that way. So we'll show some progress to the county in 3 months, and then you can reassess where you are at that point. And if we have enough time in the 6 months, if we need any additional time, or you feel confident with the recommendations and what the changes would be, then we have to sort of progress down that path, which is noticing hearings, having those,
Mhm.
that takes time as well, which I was explaining to the commission. Like, it only really gives us 3 months because the next 3 months is sort of vetting it through the public hearing process. So it may not be enough time. We'll have to see how we.
I know
how
the
we
town
do.
of Babylon is considering something like this, and I think a regional component to, our work with the other towns should be at least a part of this.
I agree,
So-
and the planning commission actually agreed as well. And so we can reach back out to any town that's also finds themselves in this and see if we can collaborate, lessons learned, that kind of thing.
Yeah, right, we're all going through the same thing, so we should work together.
I mean, it also gives our fire safety professionals more time to, come up to speed on things, make sure they're comfortable with everything going forward, and have the training opportunities that they need to be on par with everything once we put something in place. So.
Absolutely. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
We do have some cards from the public for this public hearing. The first one is Bridget Mayer.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Okay, at the planning board meetings in the spring of last year, Canal Southampton LLC, the best applicant, was asked numerous questions about the best proposal. Many of the questions were about safety and how they would respond to an emergency. They were sent away by the planning board to gather more data because I think the planning board felt the answers weren't sufficient. It became clear this was a hot potato issue and the subject was tossed back to the town board. We all learned a lot over the past 10 months. There are some key takeaways that we need to just go over once again. No one, I repeat, no one wants an industrial BESS located near their home. BESSes are not benign. The North Road location is problematic for many reasons, including its proximity to people's homes, the canal, the Shinnecock and Peconic Bays, marinas, restaurants, hotels, recreational areas, proximity to one of the most important highway corridors and narrowest choke points on the East End, making potential evacuation a near impossibility. The applicant has no prior experience in building and operating a BESS. It has been suggested that the full environmental impact should have been done, and the negative declaration was done in haste. Emergency responders in Southampton have been relatively silent, and it is unclear if they would be prepared to handle a BESS emergency. Governor Hochul's BESS Fire Safety Work Group just published a draft of fire code recommendations report with their own set of key findings. It is troubling that these requirements and mandates have come after the fact of several fires. These recommendations include, and it's going to be a little technical here, but listen to some of the words like explosion, hazard warning, fire stops. Expand the requirement for explosion control to include BESS cabinets. Require industry-funded independent peer reviews. Require the qualified personnel are available for dispatch within 15 minutes. Extend signage requirements to include security barriers and hazard warnings. Update security and remote monitoring systems. Include requirements for emergency response training and annual local first responder training. Mandate the installation of fire stops, barriers, and fire breaks. Mandate periodic special inspections. Establish guidance for water supply and water usage in an emergency, etc. Those are just some of the 15 recommendations. From these takeaways and many other key findings, I would certainly think the town board will move this BESS to an appropriate and safer location.
30 seconds.
Citing a large industrial BESS in a residential and recreational location and then crossing our fingers and hoping for the best is an extremely risky approach. As VHB Consulting begins its analysis, assuming they do, the community needs a seat at the table. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Roger Morse.
Hello and good afternoon. Thank you for the privilege of speaking, and thank you all for attending. I wanted to talk about the BESS in terms of features we've already talked about, new people and old people. About risk and reward, I'll start off with saying that a moratorium was time, but not the issues. So Please ask yourself these questions as we go forward and think about them. How much did the Korean LLC backers put in escrow for problems in our backyard? They have no experience here, as my former person had said. Has lithium changed its properties of igniting to become a 2,000-degree conflagration, which is recommended by the best company to let it burn out? Who is sending a check for the fire department training, as you mentioned before, along with increased infrastructure in case of potential fire? Who pays for battery disposal and replacement of 740 units times today's cost of about $95,000 to $98,000 each? Please think of alternative delivery options to the East End when a choke point of 27 Long Island Railroad and Montauk Highway are impassable for days. Please think of the safeguards learned after tiny lithium storage plants out east were closed because it went up in flames, much smaller than this one. How does a 5-foot fence of leaves stop loud noise or deter terrorists? Methods of recovery of shellfish areas after immense fire runoff. The things that I've understood is, and I haven't been at Phoenix or other places, it takes hundreds of thousands of gallons to try to cool this thing down so that you can do something with it, because at 2,000 degrees, nobody can do anything except shelter in place. Methods to evacuate the area when toxic gases make shelter in place and driving in deadly perforated containments impossible. And please don't tell me, look to the coastal evacuation route. Thank you for letting me speak. Roger Morse.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gail Lombardi.
Hi, good afternoon, and thank you. I support the extension. I believe that it's actually insufficient since we're 6 months in and not much work has been done, and there's a lot of work that needs to get done. I'm hoping that you're already applying for the next 6 months. I believe the original zoning for the best was arbitrary and irrational. There was a negative declaration put into place on the original zoning. I'm not talking about specifically the Canal Southampton project. I'm talking about the original zoning. I believe the estimate was somewhere around 1,500 potential sites, some of them being in village business, some of them being in highway business. That might be fine, except that due to our pre-existing non-conforming zoning and the ad hocery of the zoning that's occurred, at least over the past decade that I've been following it, I have village business next to my house. People near highway business have it next to their homes. So it's not just in residential, it's all-encompassing residential. Members of the community, Bridget and many other people have spoken. They've done what I feel the work of the town, looking at things where I don't feel like the town has made the effort to really look at a lot of the issues before they start adopting zoning. I have not been shy about the failure on SECRA. I don't think the town takes it seriously and goes the extra mile. And so I defer to the residents that really have done an incredible job and spent their whole summer doing that while other members did other things. So I'll defer to them. And I'm hoping that the last point I want to make, I'm not sure who that consultant is. I'm not sure if it's the same consultant that did the housing plan. I'm not sure if that's the same consulting firm that did the housing plan. But I'd be curious as to what their true experience and their requirement, I can't think of the word right now, but what they're capable, their capacities, because the housing plan lacks some detail, to say the least, if it's the same consulting firm. Thank you.
Thank you. Lynn Murcott. Lynn's not here.
Pass.
Okay. Keith Archer.
Good evening, everybody. Or afternoon, actually.
Hello.
Hi. My name is Keith Archer. I'm an attorney. And I represent Canal Southampton Battery Storage. I believe we submitted a letter to the town board, which I'm not going to go into, late yesterday afternoon. And I'm sure we have that in the record. So what's interesting about this application, one of the interesting aspects, is that this application has been before the planning board for 24 months, as of this month. 18 months or so previous, there were 6 appearances by the applicant. There was a negative declaration after a secret hearing adopted by the planning board. So at some point, that application, really at this point, is ready to be approved. It had gotten all of its internal approvals, town engineer, fire marshal. Yes, there were always people that were not in favor of the application. But the posture of the application is that it was reviewed for 18 months, right, and was poised really to get a planning board approval, which should have been granted. So, however, the moratorium was enacted. So during that time, the state's task force has done its job. I think we're just waiting for its final conclusions to come out. But basically, the state task force has found that yes, there were these three events, but they found that based upon the analysis that was done, that there were no environmental impacts resulting air, water, or soil resulting from these events. Which 3 events out of, I can't tell you how many BESS facilities are operating nationwide, but there are thousands. So these are just, occurrences that occur from time to time, but obviously in an effort to improve the design and the like, the task force has come out with recommendations, which obviously everybody has to comply with. So in essence, really, the state has done the work for the municipalities.
30 seconds.
The state has done the work for the municipalities, so that there really isn't a need at this point for a moratorium. Obviously, the recommendations have to be complied with by future applicants, but this application is unique in that it's positioned for an approval, it has a neg deck, and it should be separated out from any other application that's presently before the board. And I'll point out to you that you also have a letter in support of BESS from Adrian Esposito, very respected head of the Citizens Campaign for the Environment. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your letter also.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Peter Governelli.
Good afternoon. So the location of my home, it's on the corner of Madison Avenue and Old North Highway, which is 1 block south of Mission Beach and 1 block south of where the best is. So I'm about a quarter of a mile from there. So I've spoken many times before. This whole thing to me has been irresponsible to actually pass something of a new technology this size that no one really knows much about, number one, and number two, what happens if something does happen? It's always, okay, let's put it in now and do something now, but then when something happens, then it's like, what if? So to prevent the what ifs, it's just the best location proposed at the canal is in the wrong spot. It's a huge system, a huge issue. It doesn't belong there. It's around environmental issues. It's around people, lifestyles, people's lives, safety. Now I have brother-in-laws in the Hampton-based fire department. My in-laws are Spelman's Marine, and a lot of them are firemen. okay? They knew nothing about this until it was brought up in May from the people upon the bay, okay? They know nothing about it, and they're not really for it right now because they're not prepared for it. So to say that the state would approve the fire marshal, that is not true, okay? And you can go and talk to them personally. So we're unprepared with the fire department. They know nothing about it. We have a huge facility proposed, okay? Is it near a substation? Yeah, but what happens to the other best areas that aren't near substations? You have to build one. So what's probably going to happen is that you put this thing up where it's proposed, then the old substation has to be revamped and upgraded. It's another expense. So put it somewhere else. Okay, the North Sea dumps is probably a good area to put it. Okay, and put it there. Put up all new facility. Put up a whole new substation, but put it away from people. I'm all for bettering the climate and the environment. It's just in a very dangerous spot. It's dangerous to people, environment, railroad, businesses. It's in the worst possible spot because it's at the most narrowest point of the island. So just put it somewhere else, and this whole thing, will go away. Where it is right now, it's in the wrong spot. So thank you for your time. Please look into it, but it's a really common sense thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gail Murcott.
Hi, my name is Gail Murcott. I'm president of the Hampton Groves Beach Association. It's a community east of Michoud's Beach, small community right on Peconic Bay. My family has had a home there for 92 years. I haven't always been in it, but in any case, thank you for the moratorium for another 6 months. But I think we need to head more in the direction of not only is it not a good place, it's not a good place anywhere in Hampton Bays, whether it be across the canal, which is right on top of us, or at the other end of town. It's just not a good idea. And rather than see a moratorium, I'd rather see the board go towards not allowing it at all. I mean, I think the community has been very vocal about not wanting it, and for good reason. And, I understand that there are people that are paid to come in and to tell us how good it's going to be for us and how it is no problem.
Thank you.
Until something happens. So I just ask that instead of constantly doing moratoriums, that you just make sure that it doesn't happen in our town at all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gail.
Thank you.
Kristen Millenhausen.
Good to see everybody. I'm in support of the extension of the BESS moratorium. That comes as no surprise. In a recent article in the Southampton Press, a reporter called a few advocates of Hampton Bays frequent flyers and anti-BESS. To clear that up, I am a persevering advocate for my local community. Regarding BESS, I am not anti-BESS, but I do advocate for safety and code changes to promote BESS facilities to be outside of residential and business areas. In retrospect, citizens came together with cogent inquiries, research data, and much pushback to get the Canal BESS site included in the moratorium. The success of working together prevailed. The 3 fires in 3 months of BESS facilities in the summer of 2023 shed light on the fact that this newer energy implementation does have flaws and unpredictability. Sadly, there are no real longitudinal studies on the matter. The Hochul task force did try to investigate. There is some need for caution, and there has been published skepticism in Newsday over the state report by a Southampton task force member who believes the report was premature, including there was no groundwater testing after a large amount of fire suppression water was released, and 4 months passed between the fire and the collection of soil samples of the BESS site in East Hampton, which, by the way, is only 5 megawatts. The proposed site at Canal is, I think, 100. As a resident living within 1/3 a mile from the proposed Canal Best site who has well water, this raises concerns. There are numerous residents both east and west of the site that have well water. Flooding from rainstorms in the summer of 2023 was documented in picture form and submitted to the prior town board. The proposed Canal Best site itself and the ramp to get to North Highway were flooded so severely there was a police presence diverting cars and the use of only one lane of this road. The water went right into the canal and down Lawrence Avenue with water pooling in yards. Now imagine if this was runoff from a lithium fire. Like, it's downhill. We do have video footage we were not allowed to submit, but I do have it if it is permissible.
30 seconds.
The push for a greener future and the environment should be on everyone's agenda, but not at the expense of having a negative declaration to promote the Canal Best site. That was reckless. Environmental impacts should be studied and in alignment with green agenda. One cannot advocate for one without another. Safety should never be spared for the sake of convenience of a cheaper piece of land and location near a substation. Canal Best LLC, who will protect the humans and homes in the case of a negative event.
3 minutes.
I request during this moratorium, critical thinking and community advocacy promote code and zone changes and a reversal of this negative declaration. The current proposed Canal Best site is inappropriate for all the prior argued reasons, along with the summer submissions from the Between the Bays community. Please make this part of the public record. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rome Arnold.
She knows.
Hi, Ron Arnold. I'm in the village of Southampton. And remarkably, I don't want to try to convince you. I think that battle is 6 months out. What I would like to do is talk about process. It seems to me one omission, and maybe it's just a function of presenting something quickly orally, but particularly where this facility was proposed affects everybody on the East Fork. I think there needs to be communication with the other governmental bodies. This cannot be a decision made just by the town. So I'd urge that. As a matter of process, I found that in the past, much of the advice has been given orally. We heard a couple of times in the procedures about interactions between questions that the council had raised and the promoters, and I couldn't find any of that response or promises in the written material. So I'd strongly urge that you institute a process requiring responses to your questions to be submitted in writing so that we could read them, as opposed to having to watch videos. The other related point, which would be extra credit, is have that stuff available online, so I don't have to walk down and pull out the folder from the town clerk. The other point to be made is the misinformation. I hate to use that word. Inaccurate information. Rhineland sent around a mailing recently, which they talked about the BESS replacing peakers. BESS is a storage facility. A peaker generates electricity. They're not interchangeable. We need more accurate information from the promoters. Also, I'm not sure whether that was a veiled threat from the lawyer, wherever he went, about what he had submitted to you, but it's inaccurate. We all know. I've read what was written by the governor's task force, and it's very carefully written, as you'd expect, because of the political pressure to respond to climate change. So it's very narrow, carefully written, and it's not finished. They're seeking public comment, they're seeking us. So for the lawyer to say it's finished, we're ready to go, it's amazing to me that that would be stated in a public hearing. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's true, the public comment period for the 15 recommendations is open until March 5th, and we're going to be working on our responses to that, and then I'm sure the governor's office has more processing to do before the final report's ready. Kevin, that's it for the audience comments. Kevin, is there anybody online that wishes to speak?
Excuse me. Bless you.
Okay.
So would like to speak.
Okay, come on up, Ray. Just a minute, Kevin, we have one more person.
Thank you.
Bless
Ray
you.
D'Angelo, Hampton Bays. I just want to make a comment about Mr. Arch's comments about the negative declaration. I think that these people have supplied plenty of evidence of the impact that this facility would have on the environment, and it's just absurd that they came up with a negative declaration. And I understand the law is if new information comes available, they should review it and withdraw the negative declaration, which has not happened. And I think it's pretty evident about all these wonderful things these people came up with, they're not so wonderful about this system, is being ignored. So I think that that's the first thing that has to be done, and I think it's incumbent on you, in view of all this, is to review the zoning, that these things can be placed in residential areas. It shouldn't be near any private residences. And, you know, this moratorium thing, I think is being used as a delaying tactic, and eventually it's going to come to a head. And I don't think anyone would feel comfortable living next to one of these facilities, and there it is the problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you.
I just want to say, Ray, you weren't here, able to be here when we first started the public hearing, but we just wanted to let the group know that we're retaining the services of a consultant. We're having a working group. We're going to look at those issues on limiting the size and location and looking at the safety issues. So we are moving forward with that. Thank you. Okay, so.
Online?
Yes.
Online?
What was it to say online?
Oh, online.
Hello, my name is Samara, and I'm here to represent the New York Conservation Directors, or NYLCB for short. NYLCB is committed to promoting the implementation of
Excuse me.
resources.
We cannot hear you. Can you speak closer to your microphone?
Yes, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'll restart. Thank you. My name is Samara, and I'm here to represent the New York League of Conservation Voters, or NYLCB for short. NYLCB is committed to promoting the implementation of renewable resources and battery storage facilities to transition to safe, effective, and efficient clean energy. Currently, New York is leading the eastern United States in renewable energy, but we are far behind where we need to be to combat climate change. Able to transition to clean energy, NYLCB has made achieving 6 gigawatts of battery storage capacity by 2030 a key policy priority. Battery storage systems, or BESS for short, are essential for a safe and effective energy grid. And these systems have minimal environmental impact and increase stability in the supply and cost of renewable resources. However, moratoriums on battery energy storage systems threaten New York's progress towards a safe, clean, and reliable energy grid. A limited number of fires at battery storage facilities have precipitated concerns regarding the potential hazards of battery storage facilities, and asking questions is fair. But these incidents have been met with swift and decisive action from the State Interagency Working Group and the Office of Fire Prevention and Control. The Interagency Fire Safety Working Group conducted reports measuring the impact of the fires on air, soil, and water quality, and concluded the fires resulted in no injuries and no harmful level of toxins were detected. The working group collaborated with national labs and leading subject matter experts to review current codes and testing procedures for battery storage, and recently published a draft of recommended fire and battery storage safety codes. These recommendations are now going through a review process, but nothing is stopping municipalities from adopting the recommendations and moving this transition forward. It should also be noted that large-scale BESS projects are a world of a difference from e-batteries. These projects have a much stricter set of codes. While the risks associated with BESS are minimal, there is an imminent danger of not building the energy grid of the future. Without a speedy transition, we can expect more deadly heat waves, orange skies that choke our lungs, and beaches that are washed away. NYLCB asks you to consider the full picture of what battery storage moratoriums mean for a coastal community on the front lines of climate change. Thank you for the opportunity to speak at this hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bring the next one in now.
Yes.
Good, okay. Let me say first that this board is starting with very high marks for likability and trustworthiness, and of course you are owed and have the highest respect from all the community.
Well, thank you.
One's actions cause likability, trustworthy, and respect to go up or down. The action that you are looking to take to extend the moratorium on installing any best installation in Southampton will cause your marks to go up. So kudos and thank you if you do that. But you shouldn't get too excited. All you will do is kick the can down the road. Originally, this moratorium was to give more information on the various issues raised by the community, including fire, catastrophic fire, that surrounds such a best installation in a residential and an environmentally sensitive area, as well as being in a traffic choke point. An expert or experts were to be found to help get this information and guide the board on what to do about this very contentious site. To anyone's knowledge, no experts were found, no questions or information developed over 6 months. Now we find that something is finally being done. Kudos, it's about time. Perhaps our board in the past thought this was not necessary because our governor, rightfully alarmed by dust fires around New York State and worried about a potential disaster, invoked a statewide moratorium on dust to find out how to mitigate the effects of these fires that were unique and hard to extinguish. However, placement of dust sites was and is not an issue to be addressed by the commission. In any event, you waited for the board, the ex-board, the last board waited to hear from the commission. And guess what? Eureka, we can properly fight fires once they have started. And of course, the commission said nothing about citing because citing is a local matter. So what will an extended moratorium give us? Will it give us non-residential sites where best as an industrial and dangerous installation might be cited? Will it eliminate residential site location? I hope so. Our county thankfully tapes everything, including work sessions of the board for the public to watch. You should know these work sessions are watched and discussed by the community and judgments made about you and your work. Recently, just before the moratorium end at a work session, the
30
board
seconds.
asked an employee if a recently discussed property could be a good site for best. The non-answer they received was shocking to those watching. And the reason given? Because there is, a moratorium on best. What kind of answer is that? Who worked for whom? Will such an answer be acceptable in the extension of the moratorium? Apparently not. Let's hope not. At the time, the board chose not to take an issue of this response or take the issue further. Perhaps you were shocked, or perhaps you had your own thoughts on you did not need an answer then. I think that's the answer. The moratorium was ending in a few weeks, and nothing had been or was being done. Please, keep your respectability, likability, and trustworthiness. Help us all. Reposition this installation. It belongs with my friend.
3 minutes.
Barry said, in nobody's backyard. Extending the moratorium without adequately giving and explaining the expected path forward only increases the angst and anger. I would suggest, however, if Mr. Archer is willing, you could put it where he lives. Thank you very much.
Excuse me, sir, could you please identify yourself for the record?
Steve Crispinelli.
Steve Crispinelli,
Thank you.
Hampton Bays.
He said it.
Thank you.
Now 500 feet away from where that site is to be located. And my wife and I won't be able to get the hell out if anything does happen. And it's not going to happen on a Sunday afternoon. Thank you again.
Thank you for your comments.
Next person now.
We can't hear you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
There you go.
Yes.
No, this is quite unexpected, and I'm not coming into this meeting prepared, but I came in thinking that there would be a topic on the Shinnecock Nation's plan for the service station plaza in Hampton Bays. My name is Christine.
You're at the wrong hearing.
Christine, we're having a public hearing on the battery energy storage right now. So if you could, if you'd like to make comments on another matter, we'll do that at the public comment portion of the meeting.
Okay, my apologies.
That's fine, thank you. Kevin, is there anybody else that would like to speak on the public hearing number 2?
That's everyone.
Okay, good. Well then, does the board have any other comments?
No, we had a work session.
Then I would like to have a motion to close the public hearing. So
Make a motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Madam Supervisor, there's a request to open the next 2 hearings together. Is that acceptable?
Yes. So
Public hearing number 3 for the siting and construction of a community sewage treatment plant and associated collection and conveyance system in the hamlet of Riverside. Public hearing number 4 to consider establishing a sewer district known as the Riverside Sewer District in the hamlet of Riverside.
motion to open the public hearing on both public hearings number 3 and 4.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You do need a public hearing. I think you need a motion to open the public hearing.
Right,
You don't
and you
think
did-
so?
It's all good.
Okay.
I don't know, that's what I
did
thought.
ask a question.
We'll ask the lawyer, do you think you need a motion to open a public hearing? I always thought you did, but if
Oh, yeah.
if we don't. then
If we
I
do,
know.
then we're in big trouble.
Oh. All right. Thank you.
I thought we were combining them, that's what I thought the vote was.
No,
Yeah.
can't
Okay.
combine.
Thank you, Madam Supervisor. Good afternoon, members of the Town Board. As indicated, this is a continued public hearing on the supplemental secret review for the actual siting of a sewage treatment plant attendant to a proposed Riverside Sewer District. And this is your first hearing on a proposed Riverside Sewer District formation. So that's what I'll be addressing at this time. By way of background, on December 22nd, 2015, by local law number 30 of 2015, the Town Board enacted Article 31 of the zoning code, that is the Riverside Overlay District, or the ROD, aimed at revitalizing the hamlet of Riverside through a comprehensive economic development strategy. In furtherance of that effort, and as recognized in the generic environmental impact statement supporting the ROD, in order to implement and realize the development plan for Riverside, the construction of a sewage treatment plant, or STP, and the creation of a sewer district was and remains necessary. Thus, pursuant to New York State Town Law Article 12A, on November 14, 2023, by resolution number 1356 of 2023, the Town Board adopted a resolution authorizing the preparation of a map, plan, and report attendant to the establishment of a sewer district in the hamlet of Riverside. Pursuant to that map, plan, and report, which is filed in the town clerk's office, the boundaries of the proposed Riverside Sewer District are shown on this map on the wall in yellow. We will be talking about Phase 1. That is the boundaries that we will be addressing today. The improvement proposed, as discussed in the plan, is to establish a sewage treatment plant facility and associated collection and conveyance systems. The maximum amount proposed to be expended for this sewer improvement is approximately $35,525,634. That is comprised of 3 separate costs. The first is approximately $33,621,134 attributable to the construction costs, approximately $904,500 attributable to hookup fees, and approximately $1 million attributable to annual operation and maintenance costs, or O&M, which encompasses the upkeep of the equipment, required laboratory testing, and general monitoring of the influent and effluent. The construction costs, as well as the design, permitting, and consultation costs, shall be financed through various funding sources comprised of grant monies and depicted on this chart here, which Len Marchese, our financial consultant, will detail with you shortly. These funding sources, or revenue sources, total approximately $34 million, $525, and $634, leaving a remaining $1 million in costs attributable to the annual operation and maintenance of the proposed facilities. That will be funded in part through a town subsidy from the general fund and in part by user fees collected via sewer bills at a cost of approximately $225 annually per user based on usage. The estimated cost of hookup fees for this improvement is approximately $904,500. This cost for connection by law must be detailed for you, and that is based upon the premise that approximately 43 lots will need to install a pumping system to connect to the proposed conveyance system, and the remaining 194 lots will utilize gravity connection lines to connect to the proposed conveyance system. It is estimated that the typical cost for a pumping station will be approximately $7,500 per lot, and the typical cost for a gravity connection will be approximately $3,000 per lot, which totals that $904,000. However, notwithstanding those costs, it is proposed that the hookup fees will be paid for by the CPF contribution, leaving no cost to the existing property owner to hook up to the proposed sewer facilities. The assessments for capital costs shall be based upon a benefit basis utilizing ad valorem values, though, again, and you will hear me say this several times, property owners are not expected to pay for any capital costs associated with this project. Capital costs will be funded as described in this revenue chart. Assessments for property owner usage shall be based on a benefit basis, with the benefit measured by the usage of each property owner. And the estimated cost to a typical property owner within the district is approximately $225 per year. And that is because the property owner is not expected to pay for any of the capital costs associated with the construction of the facility. They will only pay the operating O&M costs, subsidized in part by the town. Unless the board has any questions from me at this time, I'll turn it over to Len Marchese to discuss the financial aspects. And of course, your Town Planning and Development Administrator, Janice Shear, is here to discuss aspects of the project, as well as our engineering consultant, Tom Lembo from Nelson Pope and Voorhees.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Kathleen, I have a question about Town Law 12A, the formation of the district. If the town board or future town board wanted to extend the district, would the process that we're going through now be required at that time?
Yes, same exact process to reach those blue areas for an extension or any other extension that the board might want to do in the future.
So we're doing a phase 1 and phase 2, so we would have to do this for phase 2 or possibly another hookup. Specifically talking about the proposition that the town of Riverhead asked us about the county facility and the jail. If we wanted to include them, we would have to extend the district and go through this.
Correct.
As well as phase 2.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And Kathleen, you're suggesting that we're going to go right to the, not just the property line, but to the home itself and do the connection. And would we need an easement for that, or just a letter from the homeowner?
We wouldn't need an easement. We would get permissions. We would accomplish that through a local law, much like we did for the hamlet of East Quogue when we did a public drinking water program that was funded through CPF. So we could either do it as a reimbursable, where people had it hooked up themselves and then we reimbursed that amount, or we could get permissions from the property owner to allow that connection to their house. Typically, as the supervisor is indicating, the hookup fees only bring the lines and the mains to the front of a house. Typically, property owners are then expected to fund the cost from making that actual connection from the street to your house. Here, we're proposing to offer funding for that as well.
And that's included?
It is, yeah.
In the cost that you laid out,
yeah.
and the cost of abandoning everyone's septic system?
Right.
That's included?
Yeah, and it will be ongoing discussions for your CPF allocation, your water quality CPF allocations each year when you're looking at that budget.
Okay, thanks.
I have a question about community outreach and how we're getting to the homeowners in this area, being that the connections will be mandatory. And, you know, while $225 may not seem a lot to some of these people, it will be, you know, an annual expense that they'll have to incur. And I just want to make sure that they're included in this process and they know that this is not a, if you choose to connect, this is a, you will have to connect, and this will be a cost that you're going to have from year to year going forward.
Yeah, I certainly appreciate that comment. Certainly, we have this public hearing. We've noticed it as required legally. Hopefully, there will be some further discussion in the community about it. I'm going to be asking this town board to leave this hearing open for at least one other, if not two other public hearings on this matter, so that anybody who wants to be heard.
Can we send them like postcards independently? Because I just don't know that a lot of these people, I mean, they're
Sure,
working,
we
they
can,
have
that's
lives, they're
certainly a
not.
policy decision by the board if we have funding available to do that, yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
Could we have a
Yeah.
discussion up in Flanders, up on Riverside?
Sure.
To bring it back?
Or even at the
Community-
Crown Center.
Yeah.
My issue with that is you're only gonna get the people that know about that meeting, that are engaged.
Yeah. Mhm.
You're not gonna get the people that are working, 2 and 3 jobs and
No.
taking care of their kids
No.
and.
But we get,
Yeah.
it'll all help.
Yeah, so a mailing
And we
would
could
be
talk to
helpful.
CRC about assisting with the mailing.
That'd
Okay.
be great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Kathleen did a great job of kind of giving you an overview of everything.
Indeed, thank you.
Everything, whatever she said there came from our financial analysis. Maybe I'll just provide a little bit of details on how we can miraculously pay for a $40 million system without any capital costs. So over the last 2 years, Janice and our whole team that we've assembled have been working diligently with funding sources to make applications for various grants from federal, state, county, local. So we have amassed a full arsenal to get this funding together, and it hasn't been easy. So we have county money. The county allocated a little over $5 million to us. Senator Schumer allocated $5 million and has indicated that there's perhaps another round of funding if necessary. We've allocated CPF money, and we've also recently been awarded New York State DEC grants from the EFC to fund up to 50% of the cost of the project as well. So between a bunch of that and our own CPF money, we feel that the capital costs of this project will be covered. Now, we have actually more than we need right now, but we think that if costs increase or they don't increase or there's some change in hookup costs, we'll have enough money on the capital side from grants so that there'll still be no costs to residents with regard to the infrastructure. As far as the operating costs are concerned, basically the way that works is the bill is calculated on the amount of gallonage that you use. It's kind of like, what comes in goes out type of thing. And we have to develop a pricing calculation on how much we want to charge. But basically, it's going to be based on what you use. And what other communities have done throughout Long Island, when they have a sewer district, is they've done some type of allocation for waste that goes into the SIP system. So like if you had a sprinkler system, or if you had a pool that you were filling up, or something like that, you would be allowed to have a credit for some portion of that. And we can talk about local laws that we might want to institute to give credit for that and a system of allocating that. Also, to address the $225, we have options perhaps going forward. Keep in mind that this is a long-term system. Like the public hearing today, and even if we were to work at this is like a 5-year plan. I mean, by the time we get engineering and design and construction, it's a long way. This is a long process. So it gives us plenty of time along the way to figure out ways to supplement operating and maintenance costs. And we've been having discussions with Semelman and Thiel. There's, as you know, our CPF fund allows for environmental quality money, and there's an ability perhaps for us to amend some of that to allow for hardship applications, if we will. And I think that's our intent, is to somehow look at that in a ways that will allow for hardship applications. So that, along with if there is some new development in this area, that will lead to some additional revenue that overall will go to lowering the anticipated costs of the whole system. Obviously, the more units you can spread the cost about, the lower it comes for any individual person. So we've worked on this project now for a few years, and we're really at the end. You know, we have a deadline now of June 15th to submit our final funding application for the large money with the EFC, which is, you know, it's going to be close to $15 million for them. And we'll probably be coming back with some bond resolutions, because part of the process is that we have to issue bond resolutions that allow for the interim funding, because much of these grants are reimbursement-based grants, which means you have to lay out the money first, and then spend the money, and then apply for the reimbursement, and then wait for it to come. So there'll be a cash flow issues that we'll have to deal with, but that's something that the town's used to doing anyway, so.
But
we'll-
those won't be long-term bonds.
No,
Right.
no. We'll wrap them up. Well,
And Len, do we currently have monies encumbered for that purpose to cover the bonds in the short term?
no. We
So
have,
we will, okay.
we funded an initial portion of this
Hold on.
project with CPF allocations in our capital fund.
Mhm.
But before June, we'll be preparing, or we'll have in front of you, some bond resolutions to authorize the short-term funding of this. The town won't be borrowing it. We'll be borrowing the money via the Environmental Facilities Corporation at 0% interest. So, but they still require us to back those bonds with our guarantee of repayment. So that's a process that we'll be coming back to you folks to discuss in the near future, not too long.
Which is typical municipal funding source.
Well,
Steve. Yeah.
we're going to obtain the benefit of 0% financing. So, you know.
That's great.
Yeah.
Just a question, I know that some of these funding lines have a shelf life. So if we keep this public hearing open, are we risking some of the state, federal, county grants?
That's a good point. We are on a deadline on some of the federal ARPA money. The money that's coming to us via the county does have some spending requirements that we have to meet. The other money, no, not so much.
The federal.
Yeah, that is still out there, but the ARPA money, which was passed like 4 years ago, there's a spending deadline. We're hoping that extends, but we would try to claim that money first.
What's that, December 2025?
Yeah, so we would want to claim that money first in the process. Like either whether it's an engineering course, land acquisition course, easement course, whatever we can front load to do that claiming first, we would try to do. Obviously, we don't want to let any of this money go away. We want to take advantage of it. So
Right.
that's part
It's
of
a lot of money, it's funding the majority of the project.
That's part of our strategic,
For the project.
yeah.
To the councilman's point, though, is we have a date, like when we have to close the hearing by, and maybe Captain.
Well, we really need this district implemented. Everything needs to be in place, drop dead June 15th, but we need it well before that. Do you want to talk about the deadlines?
It's just.
I've already addressed a little bit, but yes, as Len indicated, June 14th is the date that EFC needs the application completed, and we have to have district formation prior to that. I would not suggest one public hearing for the formation of a sewer district, certainly two, and then at the next meeting, we can discuss whether or not we have time for a third on March 12th. But, we're cognizant of deadlines, but we also want the public to have an opportunity to weigh in. So, we're just trying to be as careful and cautious as we can while not losing any unnecessary time.
So the documents that have to go to EFC, does that include the bond resolutions?
Yes.
So we'd
Yeah,
have
well-
to have the public hearings on those as well? Is that? do we need a public
Resolutions,
hearing?
just a resolution for the bond, yeah. But importantly, in the event, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but in the event that this board is inclined to eventually close the public hearing and adopt an order authorizing the formation of the district, it is subject to permissive referendum, which essentially means you can't take any further action for 30 days. And so we do have to build that 30 days into our timeframe prior to June 14th.
And if the June, wasn't clear on this, the June 14th deadline, is that to get all the documents in, not only for the 0% interest financing, but also for the bipartisan infrastructure loan grant.
Well, those are two
There's two
different
different
funding
things,
streams, right. The June 14th deadline is for the EFC documentation for the grant.
For the BIL grant.
Right now, I think we're showing almost $15 million coming in. It's a 50% matching grant. It's up to 50% of our costs. So that's the June 14th deadline. And at that same time, we would be applying for short-term financing with them as well. And you'll have to pass a bond resolution, which I think also has a permissive referendum on a bond anticipation note, something like that. So we're probably going to do a lot of action on this no later than like the beginning of May, like really. I mean, I don't think that's like really the ending. I would like to do it sooner, right? Okay. So then April.
But even if we have the public hearing 2 more times, we'll
Yeah.
be in March.
Yeah, so, you know, we think that the sooner we act on this, the better, just so that it gives us some time. And keep in mind, you know, we do have to award contracts to go forward to get some detailed engineering documents. You know, there's a lot of stuff, and this is a long linear path to get this done, you know, so it does take time.
I just wanted to, thank you. Again, Janice Shearer, I just wanted to thank everyone that's worked so hard on this. Tom Lembo is here as the consulting engineer if you have any questions, and just remind you that it's a combined hearing with SECRA, so the SECRA process will have to be closed and finished in order to form the district. So those things have to all happen in order to, before June as well. So everything is also marching forward in terms of the SECRA process too.
Janice, I have a comment rather than a question. Like, we started this in earnest for, you know, as far as getting this funded in 2018 thereabouts. I know you were on it beforehand with, you know, with the overlay district, and you were our controller, Len. Janice, I just want to appreciate your office for all of the work that they have done, and Len, you know, your work on this, and the controller's office, and everyone who is involved in obtaining $35 million in grants. It's just a Herculean effort. So, you know, well done there, and we'll continue on this.
Yeah, really, bravo.
Thank you.
Bravo.
And of course, none of it happens without the town attorney's office. You know, so Kathleen, thank you as well.
And
Don't
also,
leave
I
anyone
want
out.
to recognize Teresa Mason, principal planner here in Long Range Planning, is also here in case there's SECRA-related questions that anyone has. So
Mhm.
thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Again, it's a good community project for everyone.
Wait, I had a question. Oh, Janice and I had the opportunity, and Kathleen, to just sit and go through in detail the mapping plan. And there were a couple of things that came up that seemed to need amending or adjustments, you know, not major things. So, I don't know if we want to go into it, but if we don't, I mean, what would we do? Are we adjourning it in anticipation of getting an amended mapping plan, or how do we deal with those points?
Well, I would ask that the board keep this public hearing open and until February 27th, which is an evening meeting. And certainly in that time, we can make some amendments to the map and plan. They're really non-substantive, but not entirely accurate either, so we'll make those changes. And then we will also work on getting a mailing out. I don't know if we can reach it before the 27th, but we'll certainly do our best. If not, then for the March 12th meeting.
Because it would just be to the affected homes in phase 1, really, that we really want to target.
Yeah. I think it's 237.
So prior to the 2/27 date, we'd have the amended, you know.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And then, because
We can
then
do
we
that.
might be closing the hearing, we need that.
Yes.
All right, I don't, some cards here, thank you. Let's see. Gail Lombardi.
Thank you, Gail.
No, Janice, give them to somebody and they can.
As I said, I always get my money's worth if my poor partner drags me down here. So I want to talk quickly. I wrote it all out, but it is in the big print, so bear with me. So I recognize that this board has a lot of work to do to clean up the mess that the Schneiderman administration left behind you, but it could only be done with the help of advisors that provide complete and accurate information. And this is in reference to the secret review. Yeah, it's been going on for a number of years, but I watched Riverhead Town and school officials voice concerns about the incomplete and outdated SGEIS. As a trusted advisor in my former life, I was actually embarrassed for this town board. If that had happened in my former life, I wouldn't have kept my job. As the litigant in Lombardi v. the town of Southampton, I want to provide some comments for this public hearing. First, the lead agency is responsible for the accuracy and completeness of the FEIS. That cannot be delegated. Based on the law and case law, the lead agency is required to identify the relevant areas of environmental concern and take a hard look at them. When an agency fails or refuses to undertake necessary analyses, improperly defers or delays a full and complete consideration of relevant areas of environmental concern, or does not support its conclusions with rationally based assumptions and studies, the FEIS must be vacated as arbitrary and irrational. After I filed my petition for the HBDOD, a code enforcement officer showed up at my house with boxes of binders of documents included in the town's answer to my petition.
Oh, Gail, excuse me, are you speaking to the Riverside?
I am. I'm
Oh.
speaking just in general to the
Oh.
process regarding the secret review. 'Cause
Got it.
I was really flabbergasted that after all this time, the town of Riverhead came to this board and voiced their concern that those people were not included in the process. And they had concerns about that. It was very bothersome to be honest. So I'm pointing out, for me, what my experience was as a cautionary tale.
Oh, okay,
Okay, I
continue,
appreciate that.
thank you.
Okay, so they showed up at my house with those binders with that 9-page document of all the documents leading up to the HBDOD being approved by the town board. But as you know, I prevailed in the town board because the documents, as large as they were, are not complete. The first case I cited in my reply to the town's answer stated, one cannot presume that the required hard look was taken based on the thickness of the EIS or because the consultants were highly regarded in their field. So again, I question, in the 11th hour, I know you got all this funding in place, you know, this is an important document, and will it hold up as you move forward? And the next point I want to make is a letter that actually is close to my heart, because when the town board went to approve the final EIS, which was January 2020, Ray D'Angelo presented a very simple letter to the town board. It's noted as number 48 on that official record. And it said, it was very basic, it was from the CAC, just saying defer it because it hadn't fully evaluated the DEC Superfund site. And the Supreme Court actually agreed with Ray D'Angelo and the CAC, despite the fact that Supervisor Schneiderman wanted to get it through, and he said that people wanted to see it through, and they didn't listen to people who maybe could be trusted in the process. So it's a cautionary tale. You guys are looking at a final SGEIS. Town of Riverhead voiced concerns. I'm hoping all their concerns are fully in the document and have been fully vetted. Otherwise, you know, I would hate to see this end up in the same situation as my Article 78. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, Jeff Seaman.
Good afternoon, Supervisor, members of the Town Council. For the record, my name is Jeffrey Seaman. I am representing the Town Board of Riverhead as the Commissioners of the Riverhead Sewer District. I've been here testifying and offering public comments and written comments on the generic EIS on December 12th and again on January 23rd. On both those dates, I was joined by other representatives of Riverhead, including Dawn Thomas, and Supervisor Timothy Hubbard. I believe this board and the written comments in the secret record are pretty clear about Riverhead's request to move the sanitary flows that we are currently collecting out of district from the county center to the Riverside facility. Now, I was somewhat disappointed to review the map and plan that did not have any mention whatsoever about that flow or the potential of future tie-ins when obviously Riverside will be the nearest treatment facility as compared to the current arrangement that the county has with Riverhead. In response to the councilman's question about amendments to map and plans, and perhaps the supervisor's review of the map and plan hopefully includes this at least dotted line around the county centers. We strongly believe the opportunity to do that is now. You have a generic EIS that is only in a draft form. We have provided adequate comments, technical, and I think asked you to take a look at some of the cost benefits of tying in the county center. And honestly, once the final EIS is adopted by this board, Riverhead really doesn't have another opportunity to comment on that. There may be 2 more public hearings on your map and plan, but as far as the secret process is, they're pretty much boxed out, at least until you have a hearing before the Central Pine Barrens Commission, where Riverhead is a voting member of that board. In response to public comment and public participation, I would recommend you take a good look at the proposed environmental justice area where this facility falls. Part of the environmental justice area requirements is an enhanced public participation program. So I would at least recommend you consider not meeting the minimum requirements of SEQR and general public hearings, but try to come up with an actual plan to enhance your public participation. Lastly, I'd like to again reinforce Supervisor Hubbard's offer to cooperate both with staff and in any technical capacity that Riverhead can offer. As I stated previously, Riverhead has been at the sewage treatment game for 100 years, and I think they have a lot to offer. If you're going to go back and do another map and plan to include the county at some future date, you're going to go through a lot of the same exercise you're doing here, and I think it could leave the secret process somewhat vulnerable, because what you're really doing is combining your secret review on your map and plan. You really can't separate those two because you don't really have a district until you adopt the plan, and you can't do that until your finding statement is completed. Thank you for this opportunity to comment. I have some written comments that I'll provide to the board in more depth. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have a question for you. You know, last time you came here, you mentioned transfer of development rights as a tool to preserve farmland in Riverhead, and that was something that you all, you know, felt very strongly about. Just want to let you know that that is not lost on us, and you know, we understand what you're doing and or what you'd like to do. And you know, as for me, I mean that was important and significant.
Well, thank you, and to reinforce that. That TDR program is focusing on moving that development west of Roanoke along Main Street, where we have some sewer, but we need to expand the district to connect that receiving area. But also we have inadequate sanitary systems of the existing facilities along that section of Riverhead. And it makes, to me, no environmental sense for you to invest $35 million downstream to address water quality issues if Riverhead can't get that flow we need to address the upstream issues and improve the water quality of the river up gradient.
Does your transfer of development rights scheme, I'm not quite sure what you call it, you know, what you have over there in Riverhead, does that have anything to do with the new zoning category that is up on Sound Avenue, the agricultural resort zone?
It may or it may not. I mean, this is all part of Riverhead's update to its comprehensive plan. Neither the TDR program that's been proposed for preserving that region has been adopted yet. I want to make that clear because that'll be subject and part of another generic EIS that Riverhead will have to prepare as both part of their comp plan update or independently on the TDR program.
And one last question. You also have a charter school that has application with the town board. Do development rights have anything to do with the construction of that charter school on Sound Avenue?
Honestly, I'm not,
Okay.
I can't answer
Fair
that.
enough.
I don't know that.
Okay,
But,
thank you.
We'll get that answer to you. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Don Thomas?
Good afternoon, members of the town board, and thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak. My name is Dawn Thomas. I'm the administrator of the town's Department of Economic Development, Planning, and Building. I just wanted to comment on a few things. First, I'd like to reiterate Mr. Seaman's comments relating to the technical aspects of the STP map and plan and the SGEIS. But I wanted to emphasize that the town's request that the county facilities be included in the new district from the outset be emphasized. And I can answer some of your other questions, Councilman.
Okay.
But we all agree that Riverside is, the revitalization of Riverside is important, and that this revitalization and the improvement of river values are long overdue. We want to stress that we now have the perfect opportunity to have, make sure that we get the Riverside revitalization right with the proper mix of commercial and residential development. We've been working very hard on this in Riverhead. We'd love to share what we have done with you. Riverside deserves our best collective efforts in taking additional time to evaluate current demographics and to craft a new plan that gets a desired result for this environmental justice area. That time will be well worth it, and we look forward to working with you to make sure all of that happens. On the TDR, the charter school doesn't have any TDR proposed. It's not currently a receiving area. What we're working on in Riverhead, and just to talk about CPF briefly, is you may or may not know, we have 0 CPF available until 2030. We bonded all of our CPF in about 20 years ago, $70 million. We bought about 2,200 acres of farmland, and then when the economy went south and the real estate values went south, we didn't have enough in our bond revenue to cover the bond, so taxpayers are coming out of pocket. That bond is not paid until 2030. And so, you know, there's interesting environmental justice issues, if you want to talk about that, relating to what's left for the people on the East End who have the least. But we are working very hard to make sure that our new comprehensive plan provides the best tools we can to purchase development rights, including clustering, transfer of development rights, and purchase of development rights when we are available. In terms of the TDR program, we're working with developers, we're working with all of our community members to make sure that the formulas work. They have to work to get those rights bought. That's really those 3 tools are our last hope. I know it's hard to imagine with the amount of money that Southampton and East Hampton have in CPF that we're dead in the water in terms of purchasing. We have 7,000 acres left to buy of prime agricultural land, so it's really a difficult situation. So any yield we can get in terms of sewer is really important to our getting that density we need. The West Main Street area, and I'm sure many of you are familiar with West Main Street, it's a pretty depressed area. It is right along the river, and we have been slowly buying properties along there, but we, again, have no resources to do that with. There's many residences right along that area. We'd love to increase density to allow new home ownership opportunities. We feel home ownership opportunities are really critical to getting stability in areas where there's a lot of rental properties, and get those affordable units to people who will move and live in our town. and yours as well in Riverside. It's the same formula. It really is one community in many aspects. So the more density we can create with additional sewer yield, it will be really important to us. If we could get the county center moved off of our plant, which is 2 miles distant, I think, from where the county center actually is, it would be absolutely fantastic for us. So we look forward to working with you and talking more about it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I have a couple of questions to follow up on what you said. First question is the transfer tax, is that subject to your IDA's jurisdiction? In other words, do they give breaks on the CPF transfer tax, or is that just
No,
assessment?
we cannot. They cannot.
I don't know. We don't have one. That's why I'm asking.
They can only give real property tax abatement, mortgage tax abatement, and sales tax abatement. That's it.
Okay. And one of the things that we are going to be faced with in this district is the disposition of our sludge. I know from Sag Harbor, we have, the village of Sag Harbor has to take that sludge out. Is that something that Riverhead would be willing to work with us on?
We would love to talk to you about anything and everything we can do
Nothing more fun than
collaboratively.
sewer districts and sludge, but,
Yeah,
we
no, it's
certainly
yucky
would like
stuff,
a real
but
partnership there.
It's worth a
and-
discussion, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks so much.
Kevin, is there anybody online that wishes to speak about public hearing number 3 and 4? Oh. I did have one other card, I'm sorry, because we combined them, for public hearing number 4. Angela, no.
Hi, Angela.
Hi. Hi. Good afternoon. Supervisor Moore and the town board, thank you for this opportunity. I'm Angela Yunald, and right now I stand before you as the president of FRANCA, Flanders Riverside Northampton Community Association. We have had the town, we've had Janice speak before our community. The community's attitude, want, is let's go. Let's go. Riverside had hope in 2015. We stood behind the town board at that time. We took a picture and it was all over every paper. They're saying it's time. That is what they keep saying. It is time. Let's go. Other developers have come in 30 years ago, 40 years ago, and brought hope and said things were going to happen, and they did not happen. And then we have this overlay, and they got excited. They saw the vision of what could possibly be in Riverside, and they do not want to lose that hope. They want to see this happen. So today they've asked me, and some were going to be with me on Tuesday, but due to the weather, they could not make it well, we were canceled on Tuesday. They couldn't make it today. Some might be on Zoom. But they want to see this go forward. Have a district in place. With we know there are some more homework that needs to be done. But they don't want to start over. This is a piece to the puzzle of what they've been hoping for, and Franker is willing to have the town come again. I mean, any moment the town can come and be our speaker. We also will email blast anything that you need us to email blast. We will go on our social media also. Whatever we need to do to get the word out to have this go forward. We appreciate it. Thank you. For 10 more seconds, I might have. The resolution 2024-178. We thank you, Supervisor, for possibly signing later. So we're thanking you in advance because without that grant money, we are responsible, Franca is responsible to maintain the traffic circle, the intersection of 104 and 105 and 24. And this beautiful grant helps us continue to keep our landscaper, and it's very much needed and appreciated because without it, I don't know how we could continue to do what we do.
Oh, you're
so
welcome,
thank
and
you.
the whole board supports that.
Yes, thank you,
And
guys.
your
So-
organization.
We're still at a public hearing. Oh, I know.
Yeah, we are.
Angela,
know.
I just want to point out that I thank you for the work that you do with Franca, and and I know you do outreach with the community, and we did have meetings there, and Janice was there. But you do also wear another hat for the developers, so we have to take that in consideration and make sure we go beyond Franca because of the
Yes.
president of Franca,
No,
and with that second
absolutely.
hat,
Yes.
there's kind of a conflict there. So.
Yes, no, I do understand, and I wanted someone else to speak on behalf of Franca, but they still just give me that hat, and I do understand. But I am truly, I
understand.
I am speaking on Franca. Yes, thank
And
you.
Angela, I just want to say, you all do a good job on the circle, and, where you put that money to good use and really stretch it.
Yeah.
And I also can say to the board, and Councilwoman McNamara, you can confirm this, one of the complaints in the area is that the sewer district isn't happening. When we were there in 2018 and beyond, that was consistent in I think every meeting. So that is there.
I know.
this. Yeah.
I hate that I wear.
We
both
are
hats.
working on it.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Brendan Fredette.
Good afternoon, folks. Thank you for having me. Brendan Fredette, representing Fredette Svensson LLC. We own 89 Taconic Avenue over here since 2017. So we've been through it a little bit, the ups and downs with the sewer. Really grateful for what's happening now and the movement of
Can
you
I
all.
just ask you,
Yes.
is that the Peconic Paddler?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, at the historic Peconic Paddler. Yeah, it's great to see what's going on, and we just want to express our support. We had some history, I think, as probably the closest property to the town of Riverhead with the, I think the line goes right in front of our property. The
Through the
sewer,
river.
the sewer line from the county center over to Riverhead. I think it goes right on 89.
The other bridge.
Is it the other bridge? I think
The bridge, yeah,
it's right
it
behind
is.
us.
It's
Oh, it is? It's
I've
it's
paddled
on us.
under
Yeah,
it.
yeah, okay, so I was right, sorry. So we have a bit of history with Riverhead Sewer District. So we, at some point, tried to get connected to them. It didn't go anywhere, but they did give us some insight as to the process of an out-of-district property connecting to another town's sewer district, and we tried to go through that process. I think in some multiverse it may have worked out. It didn't work out in our case. However, I've heard a bunch of conversations here about removing the county center from the Riverhead district, and I just want to say, hey, maybe there's another solution. That the county center can stay in the Riverhead sewer district, and if they need excess capacity, and there is excess capacity here in the future, then potentially they can come to the board and ask for that flow, rather than simply now at this stage taking on that what is it, 100,000 somewhat gallons. So my point being is that maybe there's other solutions that don't involve changing the map and plow now to connect to the county center. Also, I know we did a little bit of a case study on this a couple years ago. There's also a district, I think, up in Calverton, you all probably know about, maybe, which I don't know if that's been considered here on the Riverhead side. So once again, rah, 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 and really, really grateful to see this moving forward. Thanks, folks.
Thank you. I asked the
Thank you.
same questions you did about let's do it now.
Right.
And they said that they had to have to do it in phase 2 because of the grants. And
Right.
If we wait much longer, we'll lose the grants, then you lose the whole project, then you have to start all over.
You mean the phase 2 for?
Phase 2 would be going outside the district, make the district bigger.
Right.
Hook
Right.
up the county center and any
Right.
other properties would want to be hooked up.
Yeah, so that, in line with kind of the way that I saw it, I know you guys are the designers
Yeah.
here, but the county center already has a hookup. I assume there's some type of pump, or maybe it's gravity, I'm not sure, that flows over to Riverhead for the time being. Look, from our perspective, this district's, it's a long time coming, and we're, again, super grateful to see it. For now, for this, it's a limited phase. I think it's small. Is it half the
phase
size
1.
of what it was? Yeah. I think if you go back to 2015, it probably was the full plan. Why not wait for the phase 2? Or if there is additional capacity in phase 1, allow them to come here, just like we did for Riverhead, and ask for that additional capacity in the short term. It's just another potential solution. We went through it, so we kind of understand. Anyway, thank you again.
Thank you.
for your time.
Thank you for coming.
I'll ask again, but Kevin, is there anybody online that wishes to speak to either of these public hearings?
3 and 4.
3 and 4.
No hands are raised.
Okay. Then need a motion
Hold
to
on.
hold open the public hearing. We'd like to.
The
do
secret
something.
hearing, you could close with a written comment period to your pleasure, 10 days, 14 days, something like that, and leave the map and plan hearing open. So the written comment, the secret hearing would be closed with a written comment period, and the
So
public hearing.
closing 3.
Closing 3, keeping
like to
4
do
adjourned to the 27th. Yes.
Okay, that's public hearing 3, and the map and plan would be public hearing 4.
So you'd have to do those.
So
that-
3 with a written comment period. you
Because
said,
we
correct?
couldn't do them both at the next meeting. You can't do them at the same time, I think.
You can, but
It just
we're
delays it.
waiting for, then our consultant has to take all these comments that have been entered in the record and spoken. We get them transcribed by a court reporter, and they start to respond to them. So there's a lot of work involved in that, so the sooner we can close that portion
close
and
that
start those responses,
Written record open for 2 weeks? you said?
that would be
Okay.
great.
Can you make that motion?
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to close public hearing number 3 for public comment and leave the written record open
I'll
for
second it.
2 weeks.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And a motion to hold open the public hearing number 4 to the next board meeting on?
The 27th.
I'll make a
February
motion.
27th.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wendy?
Okay, so that brings us to the public comment portion of the meeting. And we do have some cards, a few. Gail and Barty, come on up.
I always have papers.
Where are the cannolis?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, the papers. Cannolis.
I know it's been a really long day for you guys, and I apologize. And thank you for your time, and thank you for discussing the STP for Hampton Bays this morning. I didn't get to look at it. I don't know if Charlie McCardle is still here. I can't see.
No.
And I just want to thank him for a fabulous job that he did on the sidewalks and the roads. As a sidewalker, it was fabulous. So again, it's more of a cautionary tale, and again, a little bit my concern. I want to, and it's all related. I know those are old papers. I just want to make it clear that I'm speaking on my own behalf and not of any organization. Second, I want to make sure that you guys all know that English is not my first language. Numbers and facts are. My second language is Brooklyn, and my third language is English. So it's a long journey for my brain with numbers and facts to get to proper English, so I apologize for that. But when incorrect facts and information come from officials in a false narrative, I'll disrupt that narrative, and even if that means being disruptive. And I know you guys, some of you have already experienced, some of the old board members know that, and some of the new board members have already experienced that. And I do apologize, we're all flawed individuals. What I handed out, the town board resolutions 2022-644, which is the preamble for the infamous neutralization contract. In that contract, in that resolution, it clearly stated with MPV that there was a proposal given to the town board administrator, and she reviewed that proposal and recommended it. The next document is the face of the agreement signed by Supervisor Schneiderman for the town and Carrie O'Farrell for NPV. And for the last two public hearings for the STP for Riverside, Carrie O'Farrell has been presenting. Attached there too is the cover letter addressed to Janice Shearer from Carrie O'Farrell with an excerpt from the proposal. So for the bargain price of $25,000 of taxpayer money, MPV was going to further clarify any of the opponent's hot button issues and seek to neutralize that by having them appear as traditional NIMBYs who consistently present misinformation to promote their own limited agenda.
Where are you referencing that?
Attached to, there's a cover that is there's a letter that, I'm so sorry, I know it's late in the day and you guys have had a crazy day. And I think here you highlighted it, he asterisked on it, I didn't give you the whole contract.
I see it. Got it. Thank
Okay.
you. Okay, please proceed.
Okay, I'm sorry. So, I don't believe for 1 minute, honestly, that Supervisor Steineman, Janice Shearer, and Carrie O'Farrell knew nothing about it. I believe it was 100% that they knew about it. The 4 former board members that also approved that contract, I think it was including Rick, or maybe not, I think they have plausible deniability, and I can't accuse them of actually knowing about that contract. But once again, and there's a lot of false narratives now going about the historical concepts. And I feel like that whether town is involved or not, but there's now new people, new bad actors trying to put out a false narrative, and I will disrupt that false narrative, even if I am disruptive. So first I want to go back to that binders of documents that showed up in my house. Those documents, that original thing I gave you, was dated back to 2013. So there's 50-something documents. It all relates to historical concepts where we are today. And for any official, any town official, to say we're just starting after 8 years and thousands of pages of documents is really disgraceful. To come into Hampton Bays and to say that, I found that completely disgraceful.
30 seconds.
Okay, I'm going quick. How did the town officials were playing the shell game of density, taking on 10 acres of the 55 acres of the downtown and projected 160 housing units when there were concerns about the 248 housing units on the 55 acres. The next point is the shell game of as-of-right density. When the parcels are now separate and single, they were in separate LLCs. And what I did distribute, and I don't know if in the 3 documents, is actually a site plan for the planning board that went before the planning board on 2011. And it's specific with 2 of the sites. And it specifically states, the project is zoned village business. Use above 5,000 square feet requires special approval. No single building can be larger than 15,000 square feet. So all this big box store and all this other stuff we're being sold to threaten us if we don't agree with, historical concepts, where did it come from when we're being told the zoning hasn't changed to the 70s? So I won't go on. You get my point, I think. And, I think I tried to make my point clear, but seriously, I will be disruptive. I take...
Can I ask you one question?
Sure.
We're a new board, okay? You gave us a lot of paper here.
I did.
Just give us what What's the point? What,
The point
what-
is that
what are
the
you
inf-
looking for?
the-
We're here to help you.
I understand, so
Okay.
the information,
Just go slow and tell us what
I
you're
know, I
looking
try to,
for.
I want to say my 3 minutes.
Okay.
You've got 5 minutes. You've
I'm
earned
trying,
your 5
I'm trying
minutes,
to
so-
rush to say, and I'm legally blind, so it's a
I
little
know.
hard for me to
Well,
follow
I'll
my
give you
notes.
my 5 minutes too.
Okay, really quick, no five, no five. It's more important, the important thing, and Christine Scalera, when she was Councilwoman Scalera, taught us well. She was very active in the Hampton-based community, and she taught us that you need to make decisions based on the facts and truth and the law. Yes, these public hearings are important, but at the end of the day, and she would tell us this all the time, and I have to say that I was able to follow Councilman Scalera's thought process 90% of the time, and I agree with her 50% of the time. And that's what it should be. What's happened over the past 10 years to me is that false and misleading information is constantly being put in front of the community and in front of the board, And you're making decisions, in my view, being false and incomplete information. And it's residents that are coming before you and giving you the truth and the facts. So again, it's the whole, my brain works in numbers and facts and my mouth doesn't work in proper English. So I'm just, it's not what I want, it's not what Gail Lombardi wants. I want the decisions based on all the facts, the truth, and the law. That's all I've ever asked the town board to do. I'm willing to participate in anything to do with that. I think I've proven the fact that I do my research. I'm willing to help, I'll be part of the solution. But if I'm not part of the solution, I guarantee you I'm gonna be part of your problem. So that being
That's
said,
right.
does that explain it?
Yeah, I agree with you. A lot of information was given to the past board, which I did not agree with. And I had a long talk with Councilman over there, Michael, about, I said, there's gonna be some days I'm gonna agree what he wants, and some days he's gonna agree what I want, and there's some days we're gonna fight back and forth. But at the end of the day, we have to get the job done for the freeholders, for the
Yes,
people.
and based
Do
on
the
the
best
facts
for the
and truth and the law.
community.
That's all I ask. And I'm not sure that you've been, and in fairness to this board, I don't think you all are given the facts and truth of the law completely, based on some of the work we all do. And what I just wanted to add, when I said about Ray D'Angelo's letter to the board, when I was trying to rush, is the Supreme Court actually agreed with Ray. And so the fact that, now Ray's not even part of the CAC, because maybe it's because we're disruptive, but we try to provide information to the board that we feel is lacking from your own trusted advisors. And we're trying to do the best we can, and we do care about Hampton Bays. It has nothing to do with what I want. I'm not some NIMBY. I want what's best for Hampton Bays. And really, I mean, I don't want to put Christine on the spot, but we learned a lot. I know she's really embarrassed, but we learned a lot from her.
Yeah.
And, and I take what she said seriously and to the heart, and it's from my heart. If you can't tell that, I don't know.
Yeah.
It
And we
really
want the
is. It's
best
from
for
my
the
heart.
board. We want the best for the town.
Okay, well, I
All the
appreciate that.
communities.
All right, and anything I could do to help, I'm here. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We may continue.
I don't know who's got the what order. Denise Silva Dennis. Oh, she had to leave.
Oh.
Went on for so long. Brian White.
Hey, Brian.
Good afternoon,
Down.
Clay. Thank you. My name is Brian Play. I'm the chairman of the Shinnecock Nation. I do apologize if I already missed this section, but I'm here to speak in strong support of Resolution 2024-217, designating October 1st as Shinnecock Heritage Day.
You did not miss it, and
I
so
did not.
this is perfect
Good.
timing.
So I think it's important as we sit here in town chambers, board chambers, and we look at some of these seals and the language of Quag and Peconic and Shinnecock. That is our culture, and that has become Southampton culture. But unfortunately, a lot of times people don't put two and two together. They take these names for granted. They take the word Shinnecock and the waterways and our creeks and our bays for granted sometimes. And I think this resolution, will go a long way in educating the Southampton community on the indigenous peoples that were here well before them. I applaud Councilman Iacilli, thank you.
Tommy John came.
Yeah, because I think it's an important step forward. It really is. So many times I find myself talking to Southamptonites, my neighbors, my friends from high school, dear friends of mine who just really don't understand the true depths of our history on Shinnecock. And I applaud this town board for bringing up a resolution that will not only recognize the Shinnecock people and our contributions, but give education to those people who may not know. And a lot of times with a lot of the pushback that we get from a lot of the things that we do is just really a lack of knowledge on Shinnecock. I was on a conversation the other day about Canoe Place and what that means and that heritage to us, and I was really shocked that certain people don't know that. So I think not only is this resolution well overdue, I think it's important to bridge the gap between the Shinnecock Nation and our neighbors, because in 1640, our histories melded. And I applaud this board again. I hope that the board takes it up. Tabutne, thank you.
Thank you.
I just thank you, Chairman. And I want to just mention, I think it's really important to note that every member of this town board is co-sponsoring this legislation.
Well, thank you.
Because they recognize the support and the need that we need to bridge that gap. And this is a step to get there. So thank you.
Well, Tabutne to the whole board, thank you. Well overdue, and anything that we can do with our historians and our singers and our tribal jewelry makers and our artisans, we are all on board with this resolution. Tabutne,
Great.
thank
We will
you.
definitely call upon you every October 1st to help.
And I just want to, since we're all having a conversation here, I would like to just say that, as Bill was saying, this being a new town board, as far as Hampton Bays is concerned, we're a new town board. There's a new majority. There's new people here, and I think, Michael and I came out and had a conversation, and we started this dialogue, and I really don't want the past of, the battling that goes on to continue, and I think we need to work together, and that includes us all being on the same page when it comes to issues in our town, because it's our town, and we have to change the dialogue there, and it can't be us versus them and them versus us. It's our town, and until we really start working together, and that has to come to a place from both sides, and we really have to put the past in the past and move forward together. So I look forward to doing that with you.
Thank you.
It's public portion. You can come speak again, but you have to come to the microphone.
Sorry, I didn't hear what you said. You have to go to the microphone. Oh, okay.
The infamous Murcott sisters.
92 years,
Family.
they're neighbors. And we got along with their elders 1,000%, and we lived right next to them.
Wonderful.
I'm Gail Murcott, but I have a ventriloquist with me.
She's eating into your time.
Yes. I just want to say that I understand, just like our beach adjoins your beach, we've had discussions on that before as to what's good for both our properties and everything, and we've come to resolutions on that, but what I hear here is going to go on between the nation and the town board without the community. As far as, I live right off Newtown Road. I represent, as I said, I'm president of the Hampton Bays, of the Hampton Groves Beach Association. So I speak for all our homes there, which is like 32 homes. And we're right on Newtown Road. Nobody told us that there was going to be a massive clearing.
Let me just interrupt you to say, what we were just talking about is a resolution in the packet just to recognize, Shinnecock Heritage Day on October 1st. We weren't discussing the issue about the clearing right now, but I do know Chairman Polite is going to come to our work session next Thursday and do a presentation about the entire plan. So you're welcome to continue talking to us, but I just wanted you to know that something else is going to happen with respect to that.
Okay, well, with respect to that, we have a couple of community groups, the Peconic Bay Group, and stuff. Can they attend your meeting?
Sure,
So that they
everybody, yeah, oh,
Yes.
yeah.
They could listen
And we'll,
in.
and we'll televise it as well.
Okay, so when will that take place?
Thursday, the 22nd.
At-
Oh, Janice.
And will people
We
be
have a
able
lot on the agenda.
to speak to?
No, it's a work
You'd
session.
be able to listen in.
Listen.
You're welcome to attend or watch it on the live stream, and then we can, but we'll be getting the full presentation. And then there'll be opportunity at the next meeting for comments.
Okay, is there going to be any Westwoods left by the time this process finishes? because I think the one thing that I would like clear in our whole association is the history of Westwoods. We're not convinced that what happens at Westwoods is up to the town or the nation. We believe that there's a history there that stops any of this, and we keep chasing it, but nobody seems to have a good answer for us
Yeah,
there.
well, we're hoping to get answers, you know, at the
Is that
Thursday
being looked
on the
into?
22nd. Yeah, our town attorney's looking into
Okay,
these
if
issues.
there's anything, as my sister said, you know, we've been in our home, my family, over 92 years, where, you know, we're neighbors. And, you know, we certainly want to see them succeed. As a neighbor, they succeed, we succeed. So I'm just asking that, you know, that be looked into, so that everybody's comfortable with what's going to be done and can it be done. Because it's certainly going to affect us on Newtown Road. It already has. Thank you very much. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
your time.
Just confirming, Chairman, you are going to come on the 22nd?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
And we are open.
Do you want to come to the podium?
Or you can come up here too.
No, thank you. So the Shinnecock community has been good neighbors, in my opinion, for the last hundreds of years. From the first Conscience Point contact with us, we taught the settlers how to survive that first winter, and we care about that land just as much, if not more, than everybody in this Southampton town, because of what that piece of land means to us as a people. With that being said, we would like to present and answer questions, not only to the town board. I spoke to a gentleman outside, Mr. D'Angelo, to go to his civic group and also talk about it, because I think sometimes, unfortunately, there's hysteria, there's facts, there's fantasy, and then there's just misinformation. We may go through this and we might disagree respectfully, but at least people will know the information, the steps that we took to protect our own land, because although Westwoods is part of Southampton on the map, it is Shinnecock to the heart, and our blood and our ancestors' sweat and tears are on that land. So before we do anything, that's where we're coming from. And we are very happy to make a presentation to your civic group. I will exchange my information after the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman.
Did I already ask Kevin?
Is there anybody else in public?
There might be.
Oh,
Kevin,
no,
are there?
Taylor has a.
Oh.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Tila Troge. I'm an enrolled member of the Shinnecock Nation, and I just want to thank the entire town board for co-sponsoring this resolution. It truly is a historic moment in our relationship, and I want to offer a suggestion that a next step be a Truth and Reconciliation Committee composed of members of the community, where we could learn about the history of the nation, the history of land holdings, and other concerns that the community may have. Other municipalities, jurisdictions, nations have gone through this process. It's not something that we would have to create. We could look at, there's different models, so we could explore the different models that are available when doing Truth and Reconciliation Committees, and maybe just build our relationship in that way. As we heard from a previous speaker, sometimes there are mistruths that are presented, and I think the work of a Truth and Reconciliation Committee would really get to the heart of some of the issues that there is confusion around, and you know, that could involve bringing in experts, consulting different jurisdictions, obviously the federal government. So that's just my suggestion, but again, this is really a huge step forward, and the nation looks forward to working together with the town board to meet the interest of the community. And it's really what we're all trying to do to make this place that we call home, you know, sustainable for not only ourselves, but for future generations. And I also just want to applaud the work that you are doing to protect the water You know, I recently learned that Suffolk County is the largest unsewered district in the entire United States. And that's really shocking to think about. So I'm just so enthusiastic that the town board is working to address that and solve some of the issues, because the nitrogen in the water really devastates the food source of the Shinnecock Nation and further leads into problems of just really despair. So it's really critically important. And again, we look forward to working together. Thank you.
Thank you. I like your idea.
We really appreciate that you all came today. Kevin, is there anyone online that wishes to speak?
Oh, we have one more in the audience.
Oh, hello. Would you like to come up to the podium?
Yes, thank you for letting me speak once again. And I'm Roger Moores from 15 Bayview Avenue. I'm next door to the Westwoods property, quite literally. The thing I just have question is the gentleman from the Indian Nation said just wanted to deal with facts and everything else. The fact is there are chainsaws running right now, taking down the trees next to Quail Run for their egress to their system. I saw the artist's conception of a drawing, and I wonder what happens to the eagle's nest and the land concerns that they had when they talked about how environmentally aware they are or try to be. Is this a done deal by the time we get to the next step?
Does anybody else wish to speak today? Okay, Kevin, is there anyone online?
He does.
All right, this is like the volley. Okay. Okay.
We have one more in the audience, though, Kev.
Come on, Kevin.
Hello, Preston Brown, Shinnecock Tribal member. And I hear local residents and neighbors of Hampton Bays. And truly, 92 years, you are local members. But can you imagine 384 years? Excuse me? 384 years, you know, of not being acknowledged. So I would like to thank Southampton Town Board for acknowledging Shinnecock Nation as being indigenous people to this land of Shinnecock, to this land of Southampton. And as far as our indigenous rights and our sovereign rights and even our traditional rights over our natural resources, it's very hard when all our land has been taken, and even federally, when federal judges will recognize that it was our land, but we've waited too long to put in a lawsuit and to have that denied to us. And we talk about historical trauma, and we see the results of historical trauma in our nation. We have very positive attributes of who we are as Native people, but there's also some very serious negative attributes as we have as well. And I commend our Councilwoman Collins for taking note and having these discussions. So when we talk about the historical trauma and the continued historical trauma for lack of knowledge or for lack of historical information, this will impact our students, our Shinnecock younger students that are in Southampton High School who have no, their identity is lacking of who they are. And we see that when you look at the educational level that our students are competing at. But if we go into Tuckahoe School District, there's a disparity as far as they're doing much better. That's another whole conversation. But what I'm saying is the historical trauma that our children do experience and that we do see in education, we do see in substance abuse, we do see in other areas in our community. So I just want to say, and I appreciate for our tribal member, Brian Collins, polite, I'm sorry, that's my other brother, who continually just support and to benefit us and to stand even against sometimes remarks that are really disheartening. And as a tribal member, who I'm a social worker, and my economic status is not where I would like it to be. I have a master's degree. I also have the educational, the financial bill to go along with it. So thank you for looking after our financial well-being as a nation, as a people, for the little land base that we still have left, and you're using it to maximize our potential as a nation where we have lived for the eternity past. So thank you, sir. Despite transgressions, microaggressions, I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. And thank you, Southampton Town Board, for recognizing and acknowledging. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Preston, thank you for being a social worker. That's God's work.
Thank you, sir.
I just want to say that Councilman Iacilli put this resolution on before anything happened with the Westlands property, so let's sort of make that clear.
I can't. I think that's everybody now.
Cindy's gonna quit.
The Murcott heard from. My name is Lynn Murcott, and this will be very short. My sister and myself retired, we joined the Alexander Wildlife Hospital in Hampton Bays. We rescue all kinds of animals from all areas in Southampton. And the other thing I wanted to say, so I am concerned. I mean, we're starting to see things right next, I just saw an owl dropping the other day. And we don't usually see owls around our neighborhood, but I think because all this land is being, and I'm not saying against them, I'm just saying because all this land, we need to be a little careful of the wildlife also. And I just wanted to say that we have a history with your history, and we'll dig up names and everything else. Our community always got along with the Shinnecock Nation. And we'd like that to go forward with something that everybody can agree on, but they need to understand my backyard, according to the plans that I saw, the drawings, my backyard is going to be a parking lot for the hotel that they're proposing. I have no problem with, all of us would like to know what's going on because we are so misinformed about everything. I mean, I just came through Newtown Road the other day and saw this big clearing. Now, I knew talk of the gas station, but nobody told us it was moving forward, and that's not fair. Because if we were moving forward on building something in our community, everybody would know about it, and we'd have all kinds of permits and everything. I understand they don't need to, and that's fine. But I just wanted to say, we do have a long-standing history. I'll dig up paperwork and from their grandparents, and where all of us, sat down with their grandparents and our grandparents and got along very well and didn't have all these, but again, misinformation. Thank you very much, and I appreciate your time. And now I'm going to lunch.
Lunch. Okay. All right, Kevin, do you have that last person online that wishes to speak?
Yeah, we have two people.
We can't hear you.
You have to, you might be muted.
But I am using my husband's iPad, which is why it says Tom Olester. My name is Heidi Rain, and I wanted to, I am a citizen of Southampton, which is the unceded territory of the Shinnecock Nation, a Shinnecock ally, and very excited about the October 1st proposal for resolution number 45424 to designate October 1st as the Shinnecock Heritage Day in the town. I think it's a wonderful idea. I think it's about time, and I'm glad we're going to be doing something like this, and I'm so glad, and I thank Supervisor Moore and all of the board for being on board with this. I think it's fantastic. As for the person who just spoke, I just want her to know that I think Tila Trope's suggestion of a Truth and Reconciliation Committee would help move her toward what she's talking about, which is a dialogue. And I think the dialogue can happen, even though based on the 2010 federal recognition of Shinnecock Nations, the Western property is indeed their land, but that recognition should settle all prior disputes. But we also should know that we need to communicate. We need to talk with each other. Everybody needs to be open about what's happening. As an astrologer, I want to say I'm really glad October 1st is the day, because October 1st falls in Libra. Libra is the sign of the other. It's also the sign of partnership. So there's an opportunity here, instead of just regarding ourselves as the other, that we can work together and create the place that we all call home, as a place that we all want to be and we all can get along. And I want to thank you so much for letting me speak and for putting this resolution forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Just to clarify, it was Councilmember Iacilli who came up with this idea and the wording for the resolution, and the board, every member supports it. So thank you for doing that, Michael.
Thank you.
I think there's one more person. Hi, we're ready for you.
Yeah, with all respect, with all respect to all of the dialogues that are going on, I live on Quail Run, and the lack of communication, and have for over 30 years, does not compare to the history. But no one really answered the question, is there going to be any Westwoods left? We were never told our beautiful nature backyard is no more. I wasn't told. We came out there to devastation. And if possible, can somebody answer, like, why can't we all want to get along, absolutely, positively, but the trees, the nature that has come down has changed the landscape and the privacy profoundly. What we can't understand as a group, why can't that demolition of that wilderness be paused until there's clarification, till there's mutual agreement, till we understand exactly what's going to be in our backyard? I'm not saying we oppose it all, but we do need to know why, and why I no longer have that beautiful wilderness and all the trees and all those birds are gone. I'm looking at dirt, and we were never notified. I was sent a horrific video by a dear neighbor, and that should not be how we were told this was going down, with all due respect. Can anyone answer that question?
Could you identify yourself for the town record?
And I
I'm sorry?
reside with
Christina Judge.
17 Quail Run. We have a flag lot in the back.
So we don't usually answer questions during the public portions, but one of the things that we're looking at is we are looking at first of all, one of the things that I did, and I actually provided this information to the group that emailed the town board. We looked at the town GIS data. We want to let you know that GIS data indicates it's zoned indigenous reservation, and it belongs, according to the GIS data, to the Shinnecock Nation. That data is also backed up by the Suffolk County tax map that was created actually in the 1970s by the clerk of the county, and it also backs up that information. Now, we are aware of court proceedings with the state, and we are working with our town attorney's office to look into that information, and they're looking into it. We're speaking with our state partners, and so to your question of why we didn't issue any sort of pause as a town is because of that specific information.
Or certification to the homeowner so that it greatly affects.
I understand that, and that's why we are working. We are going to be sitting down with the nation. The nation's coming to the next town board work session, as the supervisor indicated, on the 22nd, so that we could gain some information and the public can gain some information on this critically important issue.
And in the interim, the wilderness has been cleared and is seemingly continuing to be done, to be cleared even more. It just seems a little evaporous, the process, if you will. I'm not a legal expert, but I thank you for your time, and I do hope that a mutually beneficial agreement can come sometime soon without more of the beautiful nature being destroyed.
Thank you.
No, you can come up.
Hold on, Kev. We have somebody from the audience.
Do you want her to? Okay, she can stay.
My
name is Marguerite Smith. I'm an elder in the Shinnecock.
Move a little bit. Move back a little.
Not too much.
My name is Marguerite Smith. Little Stream was the name my grandmother gave me. Biwisipu is the name that I've come to know because we are having to relearn so much of our own heritage. We are having to reclaim our language. And I simply say to the lady who misses the birds that I miss many birds too. And I like your statement that we should come together. What you consider mutual benefit will not necessarily be what we consider mutual benefit. So we're going to have to work, and it's going to be slow. It's taken a few hundred years to get here, and I don't know that we have much time left in the natural environment. I don't know that we have much time left to make these decisions. We have to make these decisions, but we have to remember that those of us who are older are weeping every day at the changes we see in the world. And so it's a tough job, but please respect that my grandmother and my mother went to their graves without even acknowledgement. My mother was in Stony Brook in her last days at the time of that federal acknowledgement. That I will never forget taking the call about federal acknowledgement on October 1st of 2010. So it's a long journey, and we will pray that that the universe gives us much longer to live together. May not all be peaceful, though. We have to acknowledge that. It may not all, every day, be peaceful. It's a long journey. We've got a beautiful earth here. And we will look at it through different lenses at different times. Tabani, thank you for now.
Thank you.
Yeah. He can bring the next
Yes.
person.
Yep.
Thank you.
You can begin.
me?
Yes.
I'm sorry my picture isn't appearing, but I want to thank you for allowing me to speak with you. My name is Linda Wells, and I'm a resident of Hampton Bays. And I live right next door to the property which was the subject of the historical concepts recent study. And I think one of the points that Gail and Marty was trying to make is that there are a number of entities that speak to the board officially, the CAC, the Hampton Bays Civic Association, and maybe even members of the Chamber of Commerce. But the viewpoints of those groups do not necessarily cover the concerns of many of us who live immediately adjacent to downtown Hampton Bays. So I think the issue she was trying to raise is oftentimes we feel that representations that are being made to us about developing downtown are inaccurate, but we don't have a forum to address those concerns directly with you. Recently, I emailed every member of the board about an issue being raised about the historical concepts design with regard to the potential of 160 residential units on only 10 acres of the total 55 acres that was included in downtown under the HBDOD. And I think one of the points Gail was trying to make is, in the reports prepared by NPV with regard to the HBDOD for the 55 acres downtown in Hampton Bays, it was repeatedly stated that in that 55 acres, only 101 residential units were permitted under current BB zoning in the entire downtown. Now we're being told, in conjunction with a meeting that was before you and represented again at a different Hampton Bays Civic Association meeting, that for only 10 acres of that 55, 160 units are allowed. We have a question about that. Is that accurate? Why is that accurate? That's awfully dense. But the other question is, when do we ever get to raise that to you, discuss that with you, get it answered, and that causes frustration in people who do not have a direct line to raise our concerns with you. I think that was one of her points.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll check on that. Thank you.
Thank you. It's really critical, and I know that last time at the work session, I believe, board member Iaselli, I hope I pronounced your name.
That was good. That was very good.
was discussed about a survey. And I voiced the concern with, I feel surveys are meaningless because all they ask you to do is to tell you how we feel about something you've already decided to do. Now, I'm looking at the survey with regard to the historical concepts design. And again, I think all you're asking me for is, we have a design. We like this design. Do you like it?
We haven't decided yet.
Maybe that isn't anything near what we like. I don't think that truly tests. I mean, I've spent all day devising my own that I will send to you in an email, but I don't think that tells you what our real concern is about the design that's being presented. So again, I feel that
Ma'am, if I may, just to, and really, we're not really supposed to respond back and forth, but just for transparency purposes, I do want to say this. One of the reasons why I had brought up, and I think this was during the CAC meeting that we had on Zoom, that I brought up the survey issue, was primarily to try to address some of the concerns that the folks in Hampton Bays felt as if their concerns about many projects, not just this particular historical concepts project, doesn't really get noted down. And quite frankly, I agree with that. I agree that the people of Hampton Bays are continually overlooked. So my impetus, what motivated me to say, hey, maybe a survey could be an extra added component to bring in additional concerns and thoughts from the public, is just another measure. so that we might be able to make thoughtful consideration of what the public wants. Now, you bring up a good point about some of the, the impediments of a survey, perhaps, but quite frankly, it's just a measure, a tool to gauge the community's position on some of these things, which is very informative for the town board to determine whether or not they want to engage a project in a certain way.
Of course, and anyone can understand that, but here's what history has taught. The survey, answers to a survey, many people just won't answer them. They just don't want to be bothered. But whoever answers them, later on, the municipality takes those answers and said, look, here's the survey, this is what the people want. Well, maybe it's what those few people who answered wanted to the questions that were asked, but it's not, this is...
I understand that, but in addition to the meetings that we're having with the CAC, with the civic group, this town board, the chamber, this town board is shopping the project, the plan, I should say. It's an initial plan. This is not final. We're bringing it to the community, in front of the people, giving them the opportunity to say something. Not everybody can actually make those meetings. So this is a way for folks who might not be able to attend a meeting to take a look at one of the proposals and say if they like it, what don't they like about it, and your concern about density is something that can be noted down on that survey for us to really look at and go back to the drawing board with the planning department and try to redraw. So I think it's there are a lot of things that we need to be doing as a town board to straighten things out, and I don't know if the survey aspect is the issue here. I think we need to be focusing on the much larger problems, and you bring up a really big one, which is density in Hampton Bays, and we do need to look at that. We need to be very focused in on that and the implications to our wastewater and our groundwater. So look, I'm in agreement with you. We need to look at the survey, how the survey is issued, but it's just a simple measure, a variable for us to consider in our larger decision-making process.
I would also, and I know you're being thoughtful about this, I see you are, is that there has to be some other filter. I'm sure you get many emails from people, it's overwhelming, but needs to be some way to reach out to those who do not reach out to you through an entity. It's very difficult for everyone to be at the CAC or the HBAC or the chamber.
That's the purpose of the survey.
I don't know the answer, but I throw it out because the frustration you see at some of the town meetings where people get very upset is because it is so difficult in 3 minutes or 5 minutes to communicate the complexities of an issue that you feel are just not being addressed.
I'm in agreement.
Again, my last, because I know you don't have time for all this, but I was on the work session, listening to the work session, and of course my property was right next to the former sewage treatment plant site. And I haven't seen the boards from this morning, but thank you. I think a huge relief there for the consideration of really a good sewer treatment plant site. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
I'll make a motion to close public portion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is Ray still out in the hallway?
Can we take a 5-minute break?
I did have a statement I wanted to read about my
Bill.
resolution.
He's always
but
the
I could wait till the
Michael,
resolution.
just do it.
I can
Michael.
do that at the resolution if you want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do it on the, after you do the, when you move the resolution, you get a second, then you say discussion, and
Got it.
then.
Got it. Thank you.
Do you want to just,
Take a break, 5 minutes?
No, we gotta get out of here.
Okay.
do you need a break?
No, that's right.
Do you need a break?
No, I was gonna get some water in my cookie.
So if you need a break, just say you need a break, don't.
Let's go.
Push through, they say. All right, let's go.
Let's go, Michael.
You're up first.
No, Tom
I am up
John.
first. Waiting for the supervisor to call resolution.
Let's
Thank you
start
for
with the
joining us.
resolution.
Thank you.
I want to
Okay.
thank this new town board because Hampton Bays, we felt, were fighting the board on every level. And we said we retired to sit on the beach, not to sit in the board.
Yeah.
meeting.
Well, good. I'm
Thank you
glad
so
feel
much.
that
Thank
way.
you.
And I think everybody's being very transparent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Tom, John.
Town Board Resolution.
Councilman Scavone, would you
Yes.
get us started, please?
Town Board Resolution 151 of 2024. This is to amend Water Quality Improvement Project Funding Award Contract with the Research Foundation for the State University of New York for the Peconic Bay Estuary Partnership.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-152, authorization for the submittal of a grant application to the New York State Companion Animal Capital Fund for Southampton Animal Shelter Kennel Upgrade Project.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-153 to authorize office supply purchases from Staples Contract and Commercial LLC using Sourcewell contract.
Second.
Oh, I didn't mention that, you know, in 152 it was co-sponsored by
That's
the
okay.
full
That's
board.
all right. That's all right.
Forgot to do that.
2024-154.
We didn't vote.
We didn't vote.
I don't think we voted on the previous resolution, Bill.
Aye.
All in
I'm
favor?
sorry.
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
There we go. On track.
2024-154. Authorized purchase of fisher spreaders from Suffolk County Breaking Service. Use of Sorwell contracts, co-sponsored with Councilwoman McNamara.
McNamara. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 155 of 2024, authorized purchase of snowplow and spreader parts from Suffolk County contract with Trias Inc.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-156, authorize the purchase of traffic signal installation and modification with Hink Electrical Contractor from Suffolk County contract.
Second.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Losing track of things. here.
Seemed like we're in a
Town
rush
Board
here.
Resolution 2024-157 to authorize purchases from Omnia Partners contract with Amazon Services LLC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-158, authorize purchases of aftermarket vehicle parts from Genuine Parts Company, DBA Napa Auto Parts, using Sourcewell contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-159, authorize purchases of groundskeeping repair parts, service, and accessories using Suffolk County contracts with Northeast Equipment, Inc., Montage Enterprises, All Island Equipment Corp., Malvasi Equipment Company, Inc., Finch Turf, Inc., and Store Tractor Company.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-160, authorized purchases of process service local from One World Judicial Services, Inc., using Suffolk County contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-161, authorized purchases of replacement heavy-duty brake and truck parts using Town of Huntington contracts with AA Systems Truck and Bus LLC, Choice Distribution, Inc., Gabrielli Truck Sales Limited, and Suffolk County Brake Service, Inc.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-162 to authorize purchases of technology solutions from GovConnection, Inc., DBA Connection, Public Sector Solutions, using Omnia contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 163 of 2024, authorize the supervisor to execute a 2024 cooperative agreement with neighboring villages for the town to provide shared computer services.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to amend Town Board Resolution 2024-164 to remove the last sentence of the fourth whereas clause. Wording is, if doing so is in the best interest of the town.
I'll make a motion for you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-164
Was that a, wait,
as
There's a motion
amended.
to amend.
That was a motion to amend.
Okay.
Correct.
Hold on, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. On the motion to amend was, who put that forward?
Councilman Pell.
Councilman Pell. And the second?
I did.
Thank you. Okay, and now on the motion itself?
As
the
amended.
Supervisor already put it forward.
Yes,
Okay.
authorize supervisor to execute a 2024 contract with Risk Strategies Company, Inc. to provide actuarial services to the town.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-165, co-sponsored by Councilwoman McNamara, Councilmember Iacilli, Councilmember Pell, and Councilmember Schiavone, to authorize supervisor to execute a contract with First Coastal Corp. For professional consulting services as it relates to the North Sea Beach Colony Beach Erosion Control District Nourishment Project pursuant to Town Law, Section 202B.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 166 of 2024, authorize supervisor to sign an agreement with Suffolk County to develop and implement an essential shopping assistance program for older adult citizens.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Madam Clerk, I'd like to be a co-sponsor to that resolution.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Motion to approve Town Board Resolution 2024-167, authorize supervisor to sign contract extension with J-Mill Management, Inc. for the 2024 summer season for a concession at Ponquag Beach, Hampton Bays.
Second.
Well,
On the motion, Sunday, we're removing in the first whereas clause, if doing so is in the best interest of the town.
I'm sorry, say that one more time. You're removing in the first whereas.
Second whereas, I'm
Second
sorry.
whereas.
If doing so is in the best interest of the town.
Okay, got it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
so is that a motion to
No,
amend?
motion to approve is amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Sorry. I think everybody just got
Town
confused.
Board
that work?
Resolution 2024-168, co-sponsored by Councilman Schiavone, authorize the purchase of law enforcement safety equipment and supplies from the Albany County Contract Number RFB 2023-148 with Galls LLC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 169 of 2024, authorize the purchase of milk and dairy products from the New York State OGS contract with Cremo Land Dairies LLC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-170 to authorize the purchase of road salt, treated salt, and emergency standby road salt from the New York State OGS contract with Atlantic Salt Incorporated.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
2024-171, also co-sponsored with Councilwoman
Mac?
Mac?
You could just say Mac.
There you go,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mac.
Authorize purchase of vehicles and equipment parts and related to product from NYSOGS contract with United Auto Supply in Syracuse, Western, Inc.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Town Board Resolution 2024-172, authorizing the supervisor to execute a 2024 stewardship agreement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 173 of 2024, authorize the supervisor to execute a consulting agreement with Lisa Combrink Esquire to provide professional services to the Community Preservation Department.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-174, co-sponsored by Councilmember McNamara, Councilmember Iacilli, Councilmember Pell, Councilmember Schiavone, to authorize the supervisor to execute a contract with First Coastal Corporation and Coastal Science and Engineering for coastal engineering services in connection with the Bridgehampton Beach Erosion Control District Phase 2.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-175, co-sponsored by Councilmember Schiavone, Councilwoman McNamara, Councilmember Iacilli, Councilmember Pell, to authorize the supervisor to execute a contract with First Coastal Corporation and Coastal Science and Engineering for coastal engineering services in connection with the Sagaponack Beach Erosion Control District Phase 2.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry. Town Board Resolution 176 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilwoman McNamara, authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with Young Associates for a survey for Sagaponack Farm topping properties located at 771 And PO 791, Sagaponic, Main Street, P/O 135 Gibson Lane, 26, and PO 60 Daniels Lane, Sagaponic.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 177 of 2024, co-sponsored with the entire board, authorize the supervisor to execute an amended contract with NV5 for construction management of the Hampton Bays Bicycle Lane and Multi-Use Trail in the town of Southampton.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Town Board Resolution 178 of 2024, also co-sponsored by the entire board, authorize the supervisor to sign 2024 community program grants.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 179 of 2024, co-sponsored by the entire board, authorize the supervisor to sign 2024 cultural arts and recreation grants.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 180 of 2024, co-sponsored by the entire board, authorize the supervisor to sign 2024 Hamlet Services grants.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 181 of 2024, co-sponsored by the entire board, authorize the supervisor to sign 2024 Human Services grants.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-182, authorize the supervisor to sign a 2024 agreement with Munistat Services.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 183 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone, authorize the supervisor to sign a contract with Electronic Systems for monthly monitoring of the alarm systems contained at all plants located in the Hampton Bays Water District.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 184 of 2024, co-sponsored by Councilman Schiavone, to authorize the supervisor to sign an agreement with City Span Technologies, Inc. for software renewal for the town's youth bureau.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
2024-185, authorize supervisor to sign any and all documents with the Leasing Service Center, DBA National Cooperative Leasing, NLC, for leasing purchase of a Gap vacuum truck from Suffolk County Brake Service, use Sourcewell contracts.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's a very important equipment. 2024-186, also Councilwoman McMyer, declare item surplus and authorize dispose of vehicles and equipment.
Second. Did you find out about the tractor?
The truck, actually,
truck.
I never got a straight answer on this one truck.
Do we want to remove it?
Yeah, let's remove this truck.
So we want to amend this?
Yes, I want to amend this, 2024-186, to remove, WM 2006 Mack tractor, plate number AJ8557, VIN number 1M1AG10Y36M037685. Tag number is 500967.
Because we might
Is that
need
the one
it
that burnt?
we
No.
might need it.
Yeah,
What?
we might go to the highway department for parts. and
Oh, okay, that
rebuild
would
it.
still work. Right.
Okay.
Okay, so the motion to amend is,
Men,
Second.
okay,
All in favor?
Aye.
same,
Motion, you're going to Billy make a motion to approve
same
as amended?
motion and
Same
second.
motion.
Same second.
second, make the same motion except for that.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you for helping me out.
Congratulations, Bill.
Town Board Resolution 2024-187, to recall and amend Resolution Number 2023-1521, award and authorize the supervisor to sign a contract for vehicle graphics with Fisher Signs and Shirts LLC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 188 of 2024, recall and amend, co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone, recall and amend Resolution Number 2024-180-85, authorize the supervisor to sign a one-year contract with Hatch for maintenance, parts, and labor for the Hampton Bays Water District.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Resolution 2024-189, also Councilwoman McMack, getting better. And award and authorize supervisor to sign contract for furniture and delivery of sorted oils, lubricates, and grease with Lube LLC of West Hampton Auto and Grade A Petroleum Corp.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm so thrown off.
2024-190, also with the whole board. Authorize supervisor to sign the right of entry agreement with the Army.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-191, co-sponsored by the entire board, to reject all bids for A, general construction, B, HVAC construction, C, electrical and fire alarm construction, D, plumbing construction, E, fire suppression system construction for the West Hampton Community Center.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-192. 2024 notice of bidding for drainage construction.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. 2024-193, central purchase for contracts and completion. 2024 notice for bidding for furnish and installing asphalt concrete.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Town Board Resolution 194 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone. 2024 notice to bidders for Hampton Bays Water District tank washing.
Second.
All in
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Bill, usually the co-sponsor gets the second.
Oh,
I know.
yeah.
I was waiting for him.
Touche.
He was slow. You know, we want to get out of here tonight.
Okay.
Town Board Resolution.
Speak for yourself.
You know, I like to tease you.
Are we at 2024-195?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Co-sponsored by Councilman Schiavone, 2024, notice to bidders for removal of abandoned junk and decommissioned vehicles.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-196, co-sponsored by the entire Town Board Resolution 2024-197, co-sponsored by Councilman Schiavone, bond authorization of $5 million for acquisition of permanent easements for rights in land.
Second.
All in favor?
We need a
Aye.
roll call.
Supervisor
bond.
Moore?
Right. Second.
Aye.
Councilwoman McNamara?
Aye.
Councilman Iacilli?
Yes.
Councilman Pell?
Aye.
Councilman Schiavone?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-198, co-sponsored by Councilmember Iacilli, Councilmember Pell, Councilmember Schiavone, to amend the 2024-2028 capital budget for FIMP Coastal Risk Reduction Project.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-199, to amend the 2023 adopted budget for special events.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-200, co-sponsored by Councilman Schiavone, to amend the 2023 adopted budget for ambulance districts for cost of LoSAP special election.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-201, co-sponsored with Councilman Pell, to amend the 2024 adopted budget to reimburse the Highway Department for truck repairs.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 202 of 2024, to appoint the Affirmative Action Task Force for the year of 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 203 of 2024, to appoint members of the Anti-Bias Task Force Committee for the year of 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-204, to reappoint Ronald J. White to Board of Assessment Review.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to amend Town Board Resolution 2024-205, appointing the 2024 Citizens Advisory Committee members to delete the name of Stephen Lerner from the Watermill CAC for 2024.
And he is number 7 on that list.
Stephen Lerner?
Yeah. He's not resigning, he's just not continuing on the board.
Yeah, that's right. We're removing him, right?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So, motion to adopt the resolution 2024-205 as amended.
Same second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 206 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Yaselli, to appoint the Community Housing Fund Advisory Board for 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 207 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone, to appoint the Sustainable Southampton Green Advisory Committee for 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. I just want to take a moment to thank the clerk's office for going through and amending every resolution in this packet to have the history of the town board meeting being canceled on the 13th, so,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
Well, yes, we
Yes, Kimberly did
appreciate
it.
your acknowledgement of that, and Kimberly and Shelley absorbed quite a bit of that workload, so thank
Thank
you
you.
to them.
It saved us all
Did
from
they-
having to amend it every resolution.
They had no
Did
snow
they
day
do it
that
on
day.
the walk-on
No,
for the hearing
we-
for the
we
moratorium
rarely
for the
do.
best, because I just told them we needed to amend it.
But we aim to serve.
All right, so wait till it comes up.
Town Board Resolution 208 of 2024, appoint the Trades Advisory Committee for 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 209 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacilli and Councilman Pell, appoint Trails Advisory Board for 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 210 of 2024, co-sponsored with the entire board, a resolution creating a traffic mitigation and safety task force.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 211 of 2024, a resolution amending Resolution 2023-1448.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for all your support on those two resolutions.
Thank you for creating them.
Yes, we gotta work as a team.
Town Board Resolution 212 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone, accept payment for hazmat cost recovery associated with response at 6 Ashwood Court, North Sea, Town of Southampton, New York, as the tax map as noted on or about June 12th, 2023, and allocate to responding agencies.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-213, continuation of legal services by Campolo, Middleton, and McCormick LLP as it relates to litigation filed against the Town of Southampton involving River Rock Structured Capital LLC for 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-214, continuation of legal services by Devitt Spellman Barrett LLP for 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 215 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacilli, authorization of cost reimbursement waiver for Hampton Bays High School class of 2024, commencement parade held on June 24th, 2024, from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 216 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacilli, authorize waiver of Parks and Recreation Facility use fee for Hampton Bays High School class of 2024 commencement parade.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 217 of 2024, designating October 1st as Shinnecock Heritage Day in the town of Southampton.
Second.
And just on the motion, I just want to read into the record a statement that I prepared, for this, because it is something that's really important to me, and some of the work that I did with the county was to really work on, developing relationships between the county and the Shinnecock Nation, because there are challenges that they face, to get grants and so forth. Our town's founding extends back to British settlement in 1640 and was one of Britain's first colonial enterprises. In fact, we were a British stronghold during the American Revolution. Many rebels fled to Connecticut to take up arms against the British after British troops were ordered by the Crown to be quartered here in Southampton. The Shinnecock people, however, extend well beyond the Revolution and well beyond the settlement of 1640. They've been here for approximately 13,000 years. And since the 1600s, the Shinnecock Nation has struggled to be recognized for their important and sacred history. And as colonization continued, their lands were in many cases stolen by settlers, resulting in numerous land disputes. And the social impact of these disputes are unfortunately still with us today and sometimes hinder our ability to foster understanding and clarity on the issues of the Shinnecock Nation's sovereignty here within the township. And throughout the tribe's struggle with colonial powers, the Shinnecock people were forced into the English way of life. You know, we heard some of the speakers talk about their identity, their native identity. They were forced to take on English names, clothing, conform to English culture more broadly. And this was a moment in our history that was detrimental to their traditional way of life. Fast forward to now, the people of the Shinnecock Nation, they continue to deal with some impacts of that past. Many nation members face economic hardship. There's division and ignorance about Native culture and the concept of sovereignty that persist in our institutions, sometimes in our schools. We know the nation continues to address issues regarding homelessness, hunger, housing, and economic independence, all of which is a result of a society that had been held back historically. But there is perseverance in that legacy. The Shinnecock people are strong, and I know many of the folks that are there personally. They are kind, they're assiduous, and they are compassionate. Many take on more than one responsibility to meet the needs of their people, while administrative capacity is limited. And through indigenous peoples movements and civil rights efforts, federal guidelines began to shift, and efforts proved the rights and self-determination of First Peoples vital, making immense progress for tribal nations and paving a pathway for so many communities like the Shinnecock to build a new future for themselves. And that's why in 2010, federal recognition granted the nation sovereignty over their land and opened up access to critical programs to allow them to help themselves and reclaim their identity and their heritage. This was a result of long political and legal battles that the nation had to endure, locally and federally. Today, it's important to note the nation has worked to rise above all of that. They persevered over all of that historical injustice. And they partner with various groups and municipalities on water quality initiatives. They aid in wildlife conservation efforts, and they take part in our arts community a great deal. There are many well-known artists that take part in our local artisan events and artistry events. Jeremy Dennis, for instance, a well-known Shinnecock native and artist, began working on an Indigenous Stories project through didactic photography called Indigenous Oral Stories, Dreams and Myths. Many of these folks contribute to our local education as well. And as we know, the annual powwow is a space where we see Indigenous culture expressed in its most vibrant form that encompasses the Native tradition. More importantly, the powwow brings people from all over the country to visit Southampton and contribute to our local economy. I remember just last year at the powwow, there was somebody who was there from California, somebody came from New Jersey, and they're staying out in our town, Southampton, for a week and enjoying our beaches and our restaurants. So when we understand and appreciate this, when we understand and appreciate each other's past, each other's struggle, we recognize that our history and our story is a shared history. It's a shared relationship of mutuality, cooperation, and friendship. And yes, it's been dark in the past, but that's going to change. This recognition from our town has been a long time coming. And while this legislation is merely a small step toward acknowledgement and mutual respect, this legislation, 384 years after our town's founding, helps us get closer to a more promising and positive future. So I'm so grateful to be part of this, and quite frankly, I'm honored to have the support of each and every one of you behind this legislation. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Michael. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Who was the second? Thank you.
Well done, bravo. Town Board Resolution 2024-218, accept maintenance bond in connection with a site plan application special exception for Jedi Holdings LLC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-219, accept the resignation of Sergei Kityev, automotive equipment operator in the Highway Department.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-220, accept the retirement of Elaine Jambensky, custodial worker 2 in municipal works.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Congratulations on your retirement, Elaine. Town Board Resolution 2024-221, accept the retirement of Marilyn Hubbard, cashier in the building department.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations on your retirement, Marilyn. Town Board Resolution 2024-222, appoint Amy Hayes to Records Management Assistant position from Civil Service list.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Welcome to the town, Amy.
Thank you.
Town Board Resolution 2024-223, to appoint Jenna Walney to driver messenger in the town clerk's office.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you again.
Welcome, Jenna. Town Board Resolution 2024-224, to appoint Pedro Alegria to assistant cook in senior services.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Welcome, Pedro. Town Board Resolution 2024-225, to appoint Ronald Castellano to Network and Systems Administrator in IT.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Welcome, Ronald. Town Board Resolution 2024-226, to appoint Tatiana Dawson to Senior Office Assistant in General Services.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations to Tatiana on her move within the board.
2024-27, authorized conference attendant for Highway Department.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 228 of 2024, authorize attendance at Integrating Communications Assessment and Tactics, ICAT, Train the Trainer session for law enforcement agencies.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 230 of 2024, authorize.
Skipped one.
Did I miss one?
Yep, 229.
Okay. Yeah, wasn't. Town Board Resolution 229 of 2024, thank you. Authorize the attendance at the International Association of Chiefs of Police, IACP conference.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. And now, Town Board Resolution 230 of 2024, authorize attendance at New York Tactical Officers Association, NYTOA conference.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-231, authorized drug court judge to attend the All Rising Conference.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
2024-232, authorized reimbursement for judges for attending at the Office of Courts Administration taken at the bench certificate course in Albany, New York, held on December 11th through December 15th, 2023.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-233, authorize town engineer Thomas Houghton to attend the U.S. Department of Energy Better Buildings, Better Plant Summit.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-234, vacation carryover to 2023 to 2024 excess.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yep.
Okay. Town Board Resolution 235 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilwoman McNamara, Councilman Pell, a notice of public hearing on the acquisition of 710 North McGee Street in the hamlet of North Sea and amend the CPF management and stewardship plan to include property.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-236, co-sponsored by Councilmember Scavone and Councilmember Iacilli, notice of public hearing to accept the donation of an undivided joint ownership interest of the Governor John Adams Dix windmill from the Village of West Hampton Beach, and to amend the CPF stewardship and management plan to include the structure for purposes of historic preservation, restoration, and preservation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 237 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilwoman McNamara, a notice of public hearing to consider the acquisition of 38 Second Neck Lane. located in the Village of Quogue, and amend the CPF project plan and CPF management and stewardship plan to include the property.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 238 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilwoman McNamara, to notice a public hearing to consider the acquisition of 42nd Neck Lane located in the Village of Quogue, and to amend CPF project plan and CPF management and stewardship plan to include the property.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 239 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Pell. Notice of public hearing proposed amendment of Chapter 123-14 entitled Stop Work Orders of the Code of the Town of Southampton to enhance enforcement capability.
Second. Oh, sorry. It's
All
okay.
in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 240 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Powell. Notice of public hearing proposed amendment to Chapter 229-8.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution, 241 of 2024, a notice of public hearing to consider amending Town Code Chapter 235, Wetlands, to update the definition and clarify public hearings newspaper publishing requirements.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Let me grab the walk-ons. Town Board Resolution ID number 45611 to appoint a hearing officer.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution ID number 45615. I'm sorry, I need a motion.
I don't have the correct, I don't think I have the correct packet. I have, one resolution was from 2023.
No, that's the public hearing.
That's the public
That's
hearing
not the
packet.
walk-on.
I don't have, then I guess I don't have it. That's okay. This is,
No.
I need an extra one, yeah.
Here, I'll share it with you.
Oh, thank you, never mind. I'm good.
Okay, so,
My apologies.
it's, make a motion to amend Town Board Resolution ID number 45615 to correct a typo in the second whereas clause. The date should be reflected as February 15th, 2024. And also in the notice of adoption on the last page of the resolution to correct the date so that it states February 15th, 2024.
So the change in the snow day. We had the hearing today instead of the 13th.
It's changed twice in the last one, in the notice adoption.
I'll second the amendment.
I'll say aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can we do
And
same,
then-
same, second, same vote?
Yeah. So
What's the matter? What's the matter?
I don't know, I'm getting lost in the sauce here. So Town Board Resolution as amended.
Same second, same vote?
Aye.
Aye.
All in favor, aye.
We should read it.
Okay. Yeah, the resolution to adopt the local law entitled Moratorium on Battery Energy Storage Systems by amending Section 314-4 entitled Moratorium Period to extend the moratorium period for an additional 6 months. That's what we just voted on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Just reading the whole
Okay.
thing.
Oh.
I
So
didn't-
people know.
I forgot to read it.
Sorry.
Aye.
Okay,
Tommy John.
now Michael is,
Tommy John?
Okay,
I think Tommy John.
Yeah,
It's, he's lead sponsor.
ID number, thank you, Councilman. ID number 45619, authorize the Community Development Corporation of Long Island to submit an application to New York State for a second round of funds for the Plus One ADU program.
Second.
And this is a time constraint, so that's why it's a walk-on.
all in favor?
Aye.
This would be the second state grant, if we get it. So,
Town Board Resolution ID 45620, co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone, award and authorize the supervisor to sign a contract for annual on-call granular activated carbon with Calgon Carbon Corporation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that was also a time constraint so that we could get that plant back up and running before the season starts.
Thank you. Yeah, so Town Board Resolution number 45628, co-sponsored by Councilman Giovanni, to authorize the supervisor to sign a contract with VHB Inc. to provide professional consulting services for the planning and land use code amendments for battery energy storage systems within the town of Southampton.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
And Town Board Resolution ID number 45642, warrant number 3, capital number 3, CPF number 3, February 13th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
One last one. Town Board Resolution ID number 45670, memorializing resolution to support Suffolk County District Attorney Raymond A. Tierney's public campaign and efforts to change New York State laws relating to fentanyl.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, good job, everybody.
Thank you.
That's it, I need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.